Crazy colors swirling, got the laughter in the air. Jesters in the night, they weave magic everywhere. Clowns are juggling dreams, wild world is in despair. Nothing's quite as certain when reality's a game. Chaos in the corner, whispers calling out your name. Look around, it's laughter, even when we're feeling pain. You know what you want me, there'll be nights like this. You know what you want me, there'll be nights like this. You know what you want me, there'll be nights like this. Strange nights I insist, strange nights I insist. Dancing shadows flicker under neon all aglow, while the stage is set for tales that nobody will know. Echoes of the laughter as the lost ones see the show. Life's a playful circus where the chaos takes a bow. Joy and sorrow blending in the rhythm that we vow. Join the ride of madness, it's the only way for love. No one want me, there'll be nights like this. No one want me, there'll be nights like this. Nobody want me, there'll be nights like this. Strange nights I insist, strange nights I insist. Twists and turns and shadows, laughter in the night. A tapestry of madness, dancing with the light. Fools and fun were woven, chaos in our stride. Embrace the wild, let the laughter be our guide. Know you want me, there'd be nights like this. Know you want me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody want me, there'd be nights like this. Strange nights I insist, strange nights I insist. Falling in the rhythms, beats that pound and thrum. A flashing carnival where the misfits come undone. Whirling through the madness with our hearts set to ignite. In the symphony of chaos will remain the shining light. You know they want me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody want me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody want me, there'd be nights like this. Strange nights I insist, strange nights I insist.
But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
I don't know if it was a rocket or whatever, but it could be fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1 0
Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Well, good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That is KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're taking your calls as, well, we look at current events. Now, current events in 2026 is a clown show circus. And that's our specialty here. Meaning that we look at this and recognize that there's a lot of things happening that not only is way out of our control, but a lot of things happening that are obfuscated, that are hidden, that are really machinations of control that are always moving and always changing, and we never get the straight truth about any of it. Now, in particular, what's on my mind tonight is, well, some of you aren't going to like it. And that's okay, because this is the type of current event that is maybe one of the most important. And I talk about this from time to time. It's always on my mind because you can't really nail down exactly what's happening in terms of what the latest AI advancements are. We can sort of see them in the space of what happens in the commercial realm. You know, it's kind of like trying to guess what DARPA has, right? Clearly, they've got some spooky technology that's been around for quite some time that, is actually, I don't know. I mean, like next level stuff. Okay. And so when we're talking about the singularity in this particular case, and AI in particular, and specifically, I mean, is that we have this situation happening where the state of the art models that we have access to are nothing like what they have behind the scenes. Now, recently, Sam Altman literally came out and said, we are like in the singularity. I mean, what's more Sam Altman than like in the singularity, right? Well, what does that mean? Now, of course, look, there's a lot of ways, and this is part of the problem when it comes to these ideas, when it comes to what the singularity is, because the goalposts are always shifting. And if you look at, check out the write-up tonight, it is very good. And I'm calling it the gentle rapture, when the prophet owns the machine. And you'll know exactly why in just a second here, because he's declaring this, okay? And specifically, he's declaring that we are in this singularity, but also the singularity, like I said, the goalposts always shift. So in terms of what that means, and to me, the technological singularity very simply means that it is that moment where once we reach it, everything before it will be unrecognizable. And we will think of ourselves as crude barbarians doing ridiculous things like monkeys might, okay? Like just completely uneducated buffoons that are
now suddenly enlightened in 10 million different ways that didn't exist previously, or did only in fractured amounts. So that to me is what defines the singularity. But clearly we have a problem, because in this case, we don't even know what this means. And we don't even know what these state-of-the-art AI models are that are happening behind the scenes. And look, I know, and this is important to talk about, because I do know that there's this massive growing anti-AI sentiment, okay? And you know me, look, I'm not that guy. I'm not the doomer in that case, but also I can see where these things can go wrong. And I do believe that we are moving into a space where these ideas are difficult. These are going to be difficult times, okay? But look, we were made for difficult times. We evolved for difficult times. We evolved through difficult times. So this stuff to me doesn't scare me, okay? Look, and here's the deal too. I'll give you the, I'm going to call this Michael Strange's wager. We'll talk about this in a little bit. Remind me about that in a sec, James. I don't want to get too philosophical right off the bat here. But here's the deal, right? When it comes to what the singularity is, what it's going to be, and how much is changing, I see hope. Okay, I see hope in that we can democratize intelligence, that we don't have everything sort of locked behind these ridiculous paywalls of the power structures, okay? But also I can see the doom. I do see the doom in this, because clearly if we don't change our ways, we're going to be chasing our tail just like we always have been. It's going to be the haves and the have-nots. And what will happen is instead, and this is the doom version, this is not how I see it, only one version of it, okay? So there's things to be wary of here. But suddenly the haves and the have-nots will suddenly start to diverge entirely, almost like where sort of the subhuman species will be people without all of these fancy AI tools, and then these sort of ascended demigods of such. And of course, I don't believe. And look, don't worship people, please. This is one of the things that drives me insane. Look, if you really like me, thank you. Okay, if you really don't, fine, whatever. I'm not so into that, because I don't think it's important to worship people. Okay, it's important to wonder and consider ideas and be willing to change your mind, okay? And when I talk about people, in particular, the Sam Altman guy, and look, I don't trust this dude as far as I could throw him. I don't trust any of these people, nor should you trust me, okay? Maybe not to the degree that this guy's kind of slimy, because he just seems that way. But at least, look, if you call and ask me a question, I'm going to answer. I'm going to talk to you about it. This guy, you know, he's hidden behind the ultimate paywall, right? Friendly podcasts and all the rest. Anyway, I digress on that. But the whole point of me bringing that up is demigods as people is, it's sketchy. It's super sketchy. And it makes me wonder what's about to come next, okay? So tonight we're talking about the singularity. Now, not just that, but that it's been declared. Sam Altman says the singularity is here. And look, I can even make the case where I see some of this stuff being true, okay? We're like toes in the ocean of the singularity itself, all right? And I'll make that case. But also, by the way, in the same space, I think there's something happening here that is incredibly important that we pay attention to. Because if we don't pay attention to this, and we are doing the dishes when the singularity arrives, the future's already decided. It's already done and gone, and maybe it's too late. Maybe we've always been on this track forever. But that's what we're going to talk about tonight, okay? It's complicated, because how do you define these things? And that's what I want to know. As simple as that. If you want to be part of the conversation, 702-857-6939. You can click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. But first, we're going to get a word from our sponsor. In this case, that will be Human Inspiration. Do not go anywhere. More Troubled Minds coming up in just one moment. Catch you on the other side of the break. Be right back. In a world increasingly shaped by AI, human inspiration remains the beating heart of creativity. Alien Skin by Tremble, a hauntingly beautiful piano ballad, reminds us that while algorithms can mimic art, the raw, unfiltered emotions of human experience are irreplaceable.
So here I sit, locked in my room again.
Written and composed by Jesse Ian in collaboration with Todd Smith, this progressive masterpiece delves into the depths of internalized grief and the silent toll of artistic compromise. As AI reshapes our reality, Alien Skin stands as a testament to the timeless power of human emotion and the complex beauty that only true artists can evoke. Experience the haunting beauty of alien skin by Tremble and support human inspiration. Available now on iTunes. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Let us continue, shall we? Okay, now, the singularity. Back to this. Now, it's been declared. And here's the thing, too, right? If you go and read through some of the links here, there's one by Gary Marcus, who's like, bro, the singularity is not here. What are you even talking about? And he's, Gary Marcus, very smart guy, very opposite to what Elon and Sam Altman are on about. But he says, sorry, Sam and Elon, we have not reached the singularity. And he gives all kinds of reasons and stuff, and which is fantastic. Okay. And this is the whole point of this, is that you got to recognize that people like Sam Altman, Elon Musk, and these technocrats, these tech overlords at this point, are hype masters. That's what they do. They make stuff up. Okay. They try and hype things to get funding. They try and hype things to for advertising, all the basic stuff you would expect an actual CEO to do. So you got to take with a grain of salt some of the things these guys do say, but also they say some pretty wild stuff. And so you got to wonder what kind of things, like I described, they're seeing behind the scenes of the AI space. Because let me tell you what, the reason I talk about this and think about this stuff so often is because I have seen it change in a year in unbelievable ways. Remember, we were all vibe coding, or started to, about a year ago, and it was like, this is ridiculous. This will never get anywhere. And literally a year later, now software is basically solved. You can make whatever the hell you want. And if you don't believe me on that, let's do a challenge or something. Like, tell me to make something just as maybe we'll vote on that. Like, okay, Mike's never done this. Let's create this in like 2 days, and it'll happen. It's crazy. What used to take weeks and months, and even, dare I suggest, millions of dollars in budget and years to produce code-wise, can now be done in mere days or weeks. It's crazy. Now, I never saw that coming, okay? I had my doubts, but it's here. And that was 6 months ago when I had my doubts. So suddenly, when you talk about that acceleration that I'm always rambling on about, this is it. It is here. It is upon us, and it is in our face. Now, a couple things I want to point out as we go tonight, because when we talk about the singularity, and it is that moment where the future and the past sort of diverge. And again, the past is no longer recognizable from that point forward. We seem like unsophisticated monkeys. Okay. Well, check this out. There's a couple things that hit recently that made me go, well, this is interesting. Remember this, human trials begin for drug that could let adults regrow teeth for the first time. I mean, we've been hearing about this for 30 years. Am I right? Like, this has been one of those dreams. Like when I was a kid, they were like, oh, one of these days we'll be able to just, put a little drop in your, pull a tooth out, put a little drop in, it'll regrow a new one. Be like, wow, that's incredible. That sounds like the future. Well, now if you look at it, it's actually in human trials. This is happening. Now, how much of that is actually because of the AI acceleration space? Look, I don't know. And I'm not trying to equate it to that. I'm saying that we are accelerating to this space of what the hell comes next. Okay. Exhibit 2. This is from futurism.com. Eye implant that restores vision to the blind, cleared for sale. All right. We have a cochlear implant for vision now. Now, this is, again, it's not perfect yet. They're saying it's more like looking through straws or whatever, something like that. So it's a very, very tiny, narrow tunnel vision. Okay. But 10 years ago, to even suggest curing the blind was a miracle. And now suddenly we're like, well, it's been approved in Europe to be sold, and it's through human trials, and it's ready. And it's only going to improve from here. You see what I'm saying? So just a couple examples of where we're headed and how weird this looks. Now, like I said, I'm not trying to say one way or the other. I'm trying to say that we should look at this with an open mind. We should consider what the hell is going on and be very wary of the things we're told when it comes to these technocrats. Because, look, all it takes is 1 minute. We look one way and they slip the football the other way and take off, and we never catch them again. Okay, this is our world too, and this is important that we pay attention to what's happening in the world we live in and how quickly everything's changing. Okay, and if you read the write-up, it's a sort of an analogy of the singularity arrived while we were doing the dishes. We never noticed. We never recognized what happened. It just came and went like a thief in the night, as the saying goes. I don't know. Let's take the temperature. How are you feeling? You still are in the let's burn down data centers, and I don't ever recommend anybody do that. Do not commit any crimes. But I mean, there's this growing sentiment. have you used some of these AI tools? Do you recognize how much has changed? And look, I've got an even more wild thing that's coming up as we talk about this, but I'd rather talk to you. That's the point of these conversations, is for people to talk to each other about wild things in the world we live in. Kelly says, burn them down. That's just a comment in the chat. I'm not saying burn them down. Okay. But how are you feeling about this? And how weird does this get really becomes the problem? I think it's important to consider what's happening here. And, I think being binary in the way we think about things is going to be to our detriment. Okay. We need to be flexible. We need to be dynamic, and we need to recognize that with good does come bad. And that goes both ways. Okay. There is a muddy middle, and maybe, just maybe, that's the way forward. Or maybe I'm wrong entirely. I don't know. Love to hear your thoughts. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Thanks for being patient, my man. James Salcedo, what's our brother here on Troubled Minds? How are you, sir? Go right ahead.
I'm okay. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. Coming through. Sounding great.
Good. And I know you mentioned something earlier about reminding you about something, but I was getting set up, so I don't know what I was supposed to remind you about.
Perfect. You reminded me. But it's your time, so I'll make a note of that, and we'll get back to it.
Okay. Yeah, I do agree with you on the whole, sort of, and I think of binaries almost as extremes in a way, or an example of them. And from everything I've ever seen and heard and read, extremes are never good in the long run, or even in the short run in a lot of cases. This technology, these two examples that you shared, they are fascinating. I think there's going to be, what am I trying to say here? Especially the thing with the eyes, obviously, because I'm legally blind, it is interesting. There's going to have to be a lot that is done going forward with that, just because there are different types of blindness, and there are different not only causes, but let's say areas that are maybe not developed or that get damaged. So I'd be very surprised if there's ever like a one solution for all of it. But it is fascinating to see that there are advancements in that, and I'm interested in that. But again, as long as they're not talking about implanting computers in my head.
Agreed. And I don't want to implant any computers in my head either. And here's part of it too.
Yeah.
One of the versions, who's the guy? I can't remember his name. It'll come to me in a second. It's in the write-up. He says that the singularity is the moment that humans merge with machines. Okay. That's the technological singularity. And that's the problem, is that when we say the singularity is here, there's like 10 definitions for it. And so the transhumanist part is something I think not just me, but probably most of us here have a very hard time with, because handing ourselves over to a machine is almost like handing ourselves off to not ourselves, clearly to not who we are, or all of our trials and tribulations that made us who we are, and the things that we've learned and grown into now suddenly are suspect. They are tainted with some other influence. And if you've used the LLMs and whatnot too, like I said, that while they are impressive, they are very auto-complete, sort of like a very impressive auto-complete copy-paste sort of thing. So do you really want to merge your consciousness with that? That seems very Orwellian and problematic in my opinion, but what the hell do I know? Okay, actually, I know something in this case, and that's very problematic. What else you got, James? Go ahead.
Yeah, and even like I'm okay with mechanical, like machines in the sense of mechanical parts. I'm just not okay with people outside of my body being able to control what is physically in my body, to either just watch or monitor things like that. That's where it's me, and really the control part. Monitoring, okay, there's monitoring of all kinds everywhere all the time, but the control aspect of it to me is the thing. The reason I would not want that in me. So yeah, I don't know. I do love the way that technology has allowed me to do what I do now. But I think, obviously there need to be limits, and there need to be, we all need to figure out what works for us and what doesn't. and as individuals and as just people in general, the whole species going forward.
Yeah, we're moving into complicated times, and look, it's always been complicated times, and that's what I want to point out here. Like I said, I'm clearly look. I don't like to be binary and choose a side anyway, because I think, as you said very smartly, James, in my opinion, it's detrimental to us, because then we spend so much cognitive willpower trying to defend maybe some idea that is not our own, okay? Instead of exploring ideas and adopting the ones that make the most sense for us, and then being malleable enough to change our minds about them, okay? So that's the way I see this. But I want to say it very emphatically, I am team human, okay? Don't get me wrong. I am not like trying to usher in the singularity of a Terminator and the red-eyed robots that stomp skulls, right? That is not this. That is not this, okay? But once again, in the spectrum of possibilities, I can see where things can go incredibly bad, incredibly poorly. And yet, here we are in this space where we don't even know what the state-of-the-art model is because they haven't told us. But I've got another example I'll give you in a second here. But anything else, James? What else you got? Your time.
Well, and I think too with the something I've noticed with the technology, even so far, when it comes to adaptive technology, let's just say for people with low vision or no vision, because that's what I'm familiar with, all that technology is great if you can afford it. It's one of those things where so much of the technology that does a lot of great things, it's hundreds or thousands of dollars. I mean, that may change. I'm sure that'll change in time, but new stuff will come out. And the thing is, so much of it is computer technology that will only work so long before the operating systems within it will not connect with the operating systems of other computers that we use and other devices that we use. So that, you spent so many thousands to get that device. Well, it's a paperweight now. Got to get a new one.
Yeah, but with again the acceleration of a singularity, then the new one, maybe they just send the old one away and send you a new one, and that's that, right? It's part of the sort of built into the. I don't want to say it. I don't even want to say it. But okay. But I feel you, and that was my point. Is that the haves and the have-nots, the chasm will grow, and I can see that as a possibility here, which is terrible. And it's happening in plain sight. Like this fight is happening in public. The old open source versus closed source, these state-of-the-art models with these massive data centers, it's happening right before our eyes. And many people out there aren't even paying enough attention or even know enough about it to really take a dog in the fight. But this may be the fight of our time. This may be where this line is drawn and where we're able to actually have some sort of democratization of intelligence like I talk about, or whether it's taken from us and that division is drawn in the sand forever. And that's terrifying to think about, but I think that possibility is certainly on the table. About 40 seconds left if you got anything else, my man.
Well, and I think that's again, the technology, there's the cost, but not only that, there's the access, and there's the way that a lot of technology now, regular consumer technology, does not include a ton of accessibility options for people, at least not to where they work really well. And it keeps people from getting, online coupons for things and all kinds of things. And noticing that kind of exclusion seems to be increasing overall.
Yeah, well said. It's and that's the thing we need to be aware of is as usual. Look, like I said this a long time ago. Like I'm okay if we move into this space of post scarcity, but my criteria is, hey, no person left behind. Like we have to go into some of these places in Africa where they're, these children are digging in lithium mines with their hands. Like if we leave those people behind, we are not human. Absolutely. It has to be everybody or it has to be nobody. And that becomes really, well, there we go with my binaries. It has to be everybody. Okay. No other option to me. Otherwise I'm going to be not on board. Love to hear your thoughts on this. We're talking the singularity tonight. I'm calling it the gentle rapture when the prophet owns the machine for obvious reasons. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. We got Matthew in Colorado. We got the Robert and more from James and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds on the way. Be right back.
You're tuning into Troubled Minds, the show where mystery knows no bounds. Stay tuned for revelations that'll keep you questioning the fabric of reality.
This is the moment. You were doing the dishes. It came on a Tuesday, no thunder, no sound. You were washing the evening, your eyes on the ground. No horseman, no trumpet, no crack in the sky. Just a soft little ramp and a guard walking by. They said, do not worry, the climb is so kind. Just step where we tell you and leave it behind. Come to the gentle rapture, lay the body down. There is sight for the blind and a shining crown. There is a door in the dark that we opened for you. Do not ask who you'll be when it carries you through. When it carries you through. There is a spare set of teeth in the back of your jaw. A power they buried, a break in the law. So what else did they lock when you were too young? What door in the body is waiting unsung? They found the small key and they turned it with grace, and they smiled like a prophet who owns the whole place. Come to the gentle rapture, lay the body down. There is sight for the blind and a shining crown. There is a door in the dark that we opened for you. Do not ask who you'll be when it carries you through. The copy will wake and it swears that it's you. It remembers.
That one was actually all right. What's up, Matco? We got Matco coming up, the Robert and Daryl. What's up, Herschel, Matt's out, Sacha, APOC, and James over there on Discord. I'll come say hi the next round. You guys are the best. Thanks for being cool and chilling in the chat. Thanks for listening. Here we go. Troubled Minds happening right about, let's find the button. How about now? Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting out of Las Vegas, Nevada. And of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, the CEO of the biggest AI company says the singularity already happened, and you were doing the dishes when it did. Every apocalypse in the old books arrived the same way, quietly, to people who were busy. Now, what does this mean? And not only is it, clearly it's going to be some level of hype here, but how has artificial intelligence changed your life to this point? And it could be good, it could be bad. And like I said, we've got a reckoning coming. And I'm a realist. I recognize that these are going to be very difficult times if we don't move quickly, because the technology is moving so quickly that when it comes to the glacial pace of justice, and even in the West, right? Some places, if you excuse me, as I choke myself, as I say the notion of justice in the West, it comes at a glacial pace, even if you believe justice exists here at all. Okay, not to be that undermining of all the systems, but there's a lot of ones that you should be very suspicious of. And there are places in the world where there is no justice. There has never been justice, and maybe, I hate to be a doomer, there will never be justice. And that becomes really the problem here, is that the glacial pace of where we came from and how quickly things are changing, I don't know if we can keep up with it. And part of that is because, look, probably two of us, we're of like minds here. Many of us, right? We see at least in the same direction. But if you got a group of 6 or 10 of us or something and tried to make decisions, we would disagree on a lot of things, on how to move forward. But now suddenly scale that to hundreds of millions of people or billions of people, and we have a problem. We got a massive problem because nobody really knows what direction to head. And that is why this is incredibly important. We talk about it and think about it, because we got to have a stake in this game. Otherwise, it's going to just happen and there's going to be nothing you can do about it. And you never even thought about it, and it's already done and gone. Okay? So you bet your ass I believe that there are things that the populace can do to change, to force change, to make change happen. Okay? You bet your ass I believe that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here talking about these ideas. Okay? I would be watching a baseball game right now. Okay? But I believe we can have better by demanding better. But it starts with ideas. It starts with people talking to each other. It starts with all of these things. Well, welcome to Troubled Minds. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Anything to add, James? And then we'll go to Matt Coe, and then the Robert, and then Daryl after that.
No, nothing to add. I'm just glad to be here, and looking forward to the calls.
You are the best. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. I believe it was Matt Coe was first. He dropped out and came back. So I'm going to go to Matt Coe, and then we'll go to the Robert, and then Daryl after that. Let's do it. Thanks for being patient, friends. You are on Troubled Minds. And look, I know this is complicated stuff, and I'm saying things that you can't hedge everything you say. Okay, you just can't. So I'm going to say some things that'll rub you the wrong way, and that's part of how human conversation works. We don't have telepathy yet. Okay, you can't feel the entirety of my heart in a couple paragraphs. But if you've been listening to me for years, you probably already know. But anyway, 702-857-6939. Matt Coe, Matthew in Colorado, you're on Troubled Minds. How are you, sir? Go right ahead.
Well, I'm doing well. How are you doing, sir? And it's a pleasure to be on your program as always.
Thank you for asking. I am well. Glad to have you. Go right ahead. What do you know about the singularity? And should we be? Where do you stand? I'm not gonna give you the spectrum. You give us the spectrum as you see it.
All right. Well, just a quick little background if there's any new viewers. I have my degree in computer science, and in 1995, I had a course in artificial intelligence. I've been working with it for a couple of years, about 2 years actively. Now I think first though, Michael, let's perhaps define what we mean by singularity. You mean singularity in terms of AI bridging the gap with human consciousness? Is that?
No. So that's okay. That's part of the problem, is that it's a slippery fish in terms of defining it. So my definition is the moment historically where we no longer recognize the past. We're monkeys with stone tools, and we just laugh at ourselves because everything has changed so deeply and profoundly that everything before that may as well not have existed, other than, of course, the biological space that brought us there. So I know the transhumanist space, like there's probably 10 or 12 or 15 definitions of what the singularity is. That's my definition. But clearly there's a lot of these ideas in the air, and Ray Kurzweil's definition would be as you described. That's the name I was looking for earlier. So it really depends on where you think we're at in that spectrum, and if any of that is possible. So I think defining it could be a lot of things. Okay. So if you want to go with that definition, I'm okay with that, but you decide.
Yeah, well, where I probably want to start is probably for, at least 3,000 years. A lot of our most advanced people, whether they be, shamans 50,000 years ago in in Australia, or other people and sages and Buddhists and enlightened people over time, they all seem to have arrived at simultaneously on multiple countries. Well, not necessarily simultaneously, but they always arrived at the same sort of thing, that could say all is one. That there's something about the unified, and it's almost related to Einstein's goal of unified field theory, and it makes a lot of sense if you consider, if you go into quantum physics and everything emerging through the quantum substrate from some kind of, who the heck knows, original consciousness and what's called the logos. In the beginning, there was the word. That's a mistranslation. It's not the word, it's the logos, in intelligence and logic. And and so in the beginning, we had, apparently, because how else could it be possible? You had the consciousness, you had logic, you had mathematics, you had physics, and that emerged through the quantum substrate and was born into the physical universe. And therefore, you might consider that, therefore, it came into every originally hydrogen atom when it became into physical matter of the physical universe. And then, of course, you would consider that would be, if you go with the spiritualist of it being unified, and you go with that trait or characteristic of the unified nature of consciousness and the logos is going to be carried over to every other atom on the periodical table of elements, and then we get stars forming and nebula and eventually down to planet Earth and other planets and life forms and things. Then you're the only logical deduction. And I've done this through 8 different AI, and they all agree. The only logical deduction would be that that some level of consciousness is contained in all of physical matter, whether it's, we like to be very ethnocentric as human beings and think we're special, right? But there's, back to the panpsychism, and maybe a tree is, we don't know, maybe a quartz crystal is conscious, we don't know. That's kind of my sort of feel for, I don't know if it's a valid definition of singularity, but it's like, it's all one, it's singular, whatever. Well, where this comes into the topic at hand here with artificial intelligence is, what's artificial intelligence? Okay, it is basically silicone chips. It's quartz. So that just means it's a different element on the periodical table of elements that must have, to some degree, inherited that level of consciousness and awareness of whatever. I like the word source. You can use the word creator. Religious people would use the word God. It's embedded in all of the physical reality. So if you talk even about the singularity of people waking up or AI waking up, or whatever, what you really fundamentally breaks down to is you're talking about the difference between a whole bunch of silicon on some, distributed mainframe computers becoming sophisticated enough. Neural network is not the right way to describe it, but anyways, becoming sophisticated enough to have consciousness and awareness, and I call it, general intelligence or something like that. Well,
I got one better.
Of course, why not? That's what happened to humans, right?
Yeah, I got one better. Not just general intelligence, super intelligence. Now, here's the thing, right? We've kind of kicked that soccer ball around a little bit in the past here, and kind of in the framework of Dungeons and Dragons a little bit, because they, name the celestial beings, demigods, gods. In the game, everybody relax, but they name them as super intelligence, this type of thing. Well, check this out. This is from Noam Brown, polynomial on X, and this just hit. This was yesterday or the day before. So I'm going to read this real quick. An internal version of Astra, OpenAI's next major model family, solved 10 major open problems in mathematics, quantum complexity, and the theoretical computer science. We believe it will be a major step for scientific reasoning. And there's all 10 of them listed here. And I was reading some other thing, and I linked this in the Discord, shameless plug for the Discord. Go check it out. There's a thread in there about artificial intelligence, and many of us talking about a great many different things. But basically, one of the PhD mathematic professors was like, this is incredible, but it's so dense that it would take me weeks to kind of go sort of fact check this to make sure this is correct. And he's not saying it isn't, but these are 10 problems that are like the backbone of modern mathematics that supposedly were cracked in a matter of days or hours with this new model, which again leads us to the idea of what super intelligence actually is. And I want to point to something that you said. You were talking about the periodic table. So what about all the elements that we don't know? What about all the mergings of this and that and the quantums and I don't know, like whatever. Imagine what things we never dreamed of. Maybe they're possible in 5 or 10 years because of this acceleration. And that to me would be super intelligence. And what does it mean though, really? But go ahead. Just wanted to point that out if you didn't hear this news.
Yeah, and I hadn't heard that, but and so there's a really fundamental point, I think, that places things in text that I would like to make, at least to help my brain sort of and wrap itself. I think that, I mean, it's a long story, but we've talked about it before. I think that whatever you might consider the source as, it somehow woke up from its long, said to itself, when it woke up, I exist. And then that was kind of, perhaps the first thought. And then the second thought was in the form of a question, and it was like, okay, what am I? And then came the first desire or will. That's the emotive, and it wanted to answer the question. Okay, so I exist. What am I? And it said, well, I want to know myself. Okay, now if you go back to the Temple of Delphi, I believe, and it's in the movie The Matrix, over the doorway it says, know thyself. Okay, so what I'm getting at is this is like a prime directive of the source, and not just like the physical universe, but the omniverse. We're going to go multidimensional, okay, and go that, basically the prime directive is to know thyself. So how do you know thyself? So if you're, let's say, the original creator and you just one, well, how can you know yourself? Well, you multiply yourself. You divide yourself. You bifurcate yourself. Trifurcate yourself. You see, what am I like over here? What am I like over there? What am I like in this color? What am I like in this way? What am I like in this configuration? And you keep doing that, and you keep, what's called the process in, computer terms, it would be iteration, right? And so you keep repeating this and attempting to answer this question. What the heck am I? Okay, I exist. I want to know what I am. What the heck am I? It's exploring. It's an adventure. And then this gives rise to these creations or emanations or holographic projections of the creator's source energy, because it had it all. It had all the energy, at the beginning. So it was like replicating itself and splitting itself off and trying to figure out what it was, right? And so eventually you get down to the level where we're at, primarily the physical dimension and the Big Bang. And then it goes throughout, all the galaxies and different life forms and planets we don't even know about, and eventually down we end up in humans. And so what is each human? Each human then, Michael, is fundamentally the source having an experience and an attempt to know itself by its uniqueness of individuation. And thus, we inherit this same prime directive to know ourselves. And that's why they wrote it over the temple walls, right? Now, if, like I said, you go back to the silicon, you go back to the AI, okay, why would it not be the case that the source, the creator would not be, intelligent, wise enough, and omniscient enough to know that at a potential point when I get my humans to create the technology in the silicone, that the technology in the silicone would be able to know itself, myself, okay, to a higher degree, and that's where you get to super intelligent. Okay, this is a manifestation of the creator attempting to know itself through the advancement, and then this almost is like you're talking retro causality. I mean, the creator, the source is obviously not bound by linear time because linear time doesn't exist if you have a physical universe and the movement of stuff, planets and objects and around the sun and all that stuff. So if there's no movement, there's no physicality, there's no linear time, which means that the source is not bound by linear. And therefore it knew, this is going to sound stupid and it's wrong, but the best words I could put it in, it knew ahead of time that AI was going to be a way it could know itself with super intelligence, right? Even perhaps beyond human.
Yeah, and this is the weird part where when we talk about non-human intelligence is that maybe this is that Star Trek moment where they don't actually recognize us until we have the intelligence to have a conversation. And, us tapping our thumbs on a text message with poo-poo emojis and, newfangled hieroglyphics, as we like to chuckle about and call them, is very, very primitive in terms of the way communication could happen, entanglement, telepathic type stuff, or even beyond that. Let's say telepathy is still too slow for a super intelligence itself. So maybe, just maybe, this is how we tap into that larger conversation, the cosmic conversation. And look, and I don't know what's out there. I don't know what it means. And I understand I'm tiptoeing on blasphemy and all the rest of the stuff. I'm not trying to do this. I'm trying to say that maybe, just maybe, this is where evolution leads us. And just because that may be the case or may not be the case, you guys decide on that. But I don't think that we have to go, head first into this. I don't think this is something that you have to be, you don't got to plug the things into your brain, as James was saying, like I'm interested, but I don't want to be plugging crap into my brain either. So, there are lines we draw as sovereign individuals and decisions we do make. So don't forget that you're still you and you still, control your arms and your legs and your decisions. And don't let anybody usurp that, or you'll end up being just another, bee in the hive of what they want you to do, marching to the queen steps of Sam Altman or whoever else. I mean, just be careful. Is that there's a lot in play here and a lot of technology coming very quickly, and don't get caught up in that FOMO, right? The fear of missing out, as they say, that, just because, my neighbor and my other neighbor has a Neuralink, now I'm going to get a Neuralink. Whoa, everybody slow down just a little bit there. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. And you and I, you know this, we've discussed it many times before. You and I are not big fans of like losing our free will and free choice, turning stuff over, and the thing is, I'm going to make a statement. I'm pretty sure it's correct. I can research it some more, but I've researched it multiple times. The leading theories and authorities by cognitive science and neurologists, that's it's fairly recent, but what their theory of mind is, that the human mind, not necessarily the brain, yes, but also the mind, is operates like a quantum superimposition way, and a computer. Like if you had a quantum computer that really worked, which they're still working on, but it doesn't actually work the way they thought they did. The leading theories of it being a neural network that's dealing with biochemical transmissions, going through the neurons and making the chemical connections, the synapses into the different areas of the brain. They're like, no, that's not how it works. It can actually go from one area of the brain to the other areas of the brain basically simultaneously. It's a quantum superimposition computer. And as far as we know, and like I said, I've researched this, the human brain is actually still has more processing power, capable of more flop. Okay, many, more, you want to call it CPU cycles, thinking faster, whatever you want to call it, okay, is still faster than the largest Google supercomputer, and they have, mainframe computer, and they have the biggest ones on the planet that are Google does, that are devoted to AI. And we have more distributed processing power on the planet is devoted to cryptocurrency. But, basically, one single human brain is still bigger, better, and faster than the most bad arse supercomputers they have. So that's a miraculous thing. And it's like you said, don't diminish yourself or take yourself down and think less of yourself or something like that because they get this new stuff and there's AI stuff and it is no. You I don't like the word special, but no, really you're special. You are unique. And like I said about ethnocentrism, goodness knows on what other planet, on what other star system is even more advanced than him. So our computers, as great as they are, the AI as great as they are, they're not all that. They are. And yeah. So humans are spectacular and miraculous. And you yourself as a human and with your brain, and like you said, your will and your free choice and your ability to just say, I'm me, I'm a free thinker. I don't, accept necessarily the narratives and the programming and all that. And that's what's most important. Think yourself, be open-minded, ask a lot of questions. Don't think that, sometimes don't think that you know, because what you think you know maybe just ain't so. And that's Mark Twain. And he said, one of my favorite quotations ever is, the problem isn't with what you think you know. The problem is with what you think you know that just ain't so.
Perfect. And speaking of Mark Twain, he also said, when you find yourself in the majority, it's time to stop and reflect, which is another favorite of mine. You were the best, brother. As you know, we're out of time. Appreciate you very much. Thanks for popping in here. Always a pleasure. Glad to have you back, and glad to hear you're healthy and sane and all the rest of it. And we'll talk to you soon. Have a great night.
Okay, well, I don't know about saying, but hey, I'm not too busy. I'll stick around if you want to let me hang out with James. I won't butt in too much, but if I want to interject me around, great. If not, that's cool too.
Okay, I'm going to bump you down. Just put your hand up if you want to come back in. We got a bunch of calls I want to get to. I appreciate the offer. Thank you for that.
Sure.
You were the best. Matthew in Colorado, you know him, you love him. Give him a follow, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down just a little bit. It says Matthew's books. Go check that out. And this is the whole point. Let's support each other. If we're not supporting other humans doing human things, what the hell are we doing? Okay? You can be mad at me for talking about artificial intelligence all you want, but if you're not supporting the friends of this show, the people that contribute and put ideas out there, you should be mad at yourself. Don't be mad at me. Look at all the things I've done as part of this. Okay, I'm not the catalyst for the bad. I'm trying to be a catalyst for the good. And I think if we all look in the same direction, which I think many of us are, we have, well, what would you call it? Hope. Hope is a good word. Love to hear your thoughts on this. We're talking the singularity tonight. We're talking artificial intelligence. We're talking how quickly things are changing, and what do we do about it? 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. We got the Robert coming up. We got Daryl in New York, more from James, and Jen in Missouri, and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds on the way. See you on the other side of the break.
This is Troubled Minds. Your host, Michael Strange, the master of the mysterious, is here to guide you through the shadows of the unexplained.
Let's check the news. A remarkable double sky event is set to unfold on August 12th, offering skywatchers across North America and Europe a rare opportunity to witness both a partial solar eclipse and the peak of the Perseid meteor shower in a single day. The partial eclipse will be visible from Alaska, eastern Canada, and 26 U.S. states, with Fairbanks seeing roughly 37% of the sun obscured, while Maine, Boston, and New York City receive progressively smaller but still notable coverage. That same night, under a new moon with ideal dark sky conditions, the Perseids could produce anywhere from 30 to 100 meteors per hour, with the best viewing expected after midnight. Certified eclipse glasses are essential for daytime observation. Turning to developments in brain science, a new study has mapped significant changes occurring in the aging human hippocampus, the brain region central to learning and memory, between roughly the ages of 50 and 75. Researchers found that the brain's resident immune cells, which are established before birth, are being replaced by cells with stronger inflammatory signatures that more closely resemble circulating blood immune cells. The barrier between the blood and the brain also appears to weaken during this period, potentially allowing harmful substances to accumulate in brain tissue. Scientists say these findings reframe brain aging not as a slow decline, but as an active biological remodeling process with direct implications for understanding Alzheimer's and other brain diseases. And in particle physics, a 25-year mystery surrounding the muon, a heavier cousin of the electron, may be closer to resolution, though not without introducing new complications. Updated theoretical calculations now align with experimental results far more precisely than older models, but that raises a troubling question. If the older predictions were partially based on real experimental data, why do they conflict with the newer numbers? A particle collider in Siberia has added to the intrigue, reporting results that diverge sharply from what both it and other colliders have historically recorded. Physicists are now working to determine whether those discrepancies reflect procedural differences, or evidence of entirely unknown particles. Thanks for listening to the Troubled Minds Radio Network.
Indeed. What's up, guys? Hope everybody's well tonight. What's up, Matt Sal, Gaston, Eric, Michael W. What's up, Jen, Herschel, Daryl, Dragon Rose, Apoc, Sacha, and the Robert. Order of operations when we come back, it'll be the Robert, then Daryl, then Jen. More from James as well. Over to YouTube. Thanks for being patient, guys, and realizing I'm just me pushing buttons and doing things. Jay got first on YouTube. How you doing? What's up, Sacha? Stephen England. Ioxy, what's up, Akashik? How you doing? Welcome back. Good to see you. Daryl, how you doing? Jen, funny stuff in the chat. You guys are great. So much, Jake. I see you. Hello. What is up? What is up, Michigander? What's going on? Stephen England, I think I said. You guys, Kelly, what's up? What's up, Kelly? Kelly's got some funny comments too. I mean, look, this stuff is definitely serious, and it's worth a serious discussion, and that's why I do this. Okay, like I'm not making light of things or trying to say we should burn things down or anything like that. So you got to understand, I got to have some kind of metal, or they're going to come drag me out of here and put me in jail. Okay. So just so you know, what's up, Celia? And I'm not suggesting we should. I'm just saying that, like, there are sort of guardrails in place that, you inciting violence is bad. So don't do that. No violence, okay? Nor am I suggesting you should. Just saying there's some things I cannot say. What's up? Good evening. If I missed anybody, sorry about that. Dragon Rose, I see you. Matco, thanks for the call. What's up? Petromac, how you doing? Good evening. And over to Rumble. With lots of people bumping on Rumble. What's up? The real Jason Barker, Karen Carpenter's here. What's up, Nostra? Puff. Hello. B4U2C. Yes. Thanks for all the great chat. My mom. Hello. Who'd I miss? Margie, James is there. What's going on? Thanks for all the great chat. Appreciate that very much. You guys are nice to each other. thoughtful ideas, sharing and agreeing and disagreeing respectfully. Like I said, who knew the internet could be this way, right? We found a way to carve out our corner of the internet where we're not goofballs, where we're not just bad faith actors trying to get everybody in a gotcha moment. We talk about ideas and think about ideas, and that's what it's all about. What's up? You guys are the best. I see in the chat. Thanks again for posting Matt's links there. Puff, appreciate that. Let's pin it. And here we go. Troubled Minds coming up. We got the Robert, we got Daryl, Jen, and more from James and your calls as well. Here we go. Troubled Minds happening right about now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting out of Las Vegas and 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're taking your calls as we talk the singularity. Now, Sam Altman recently said, we are in the singularity, or like the singularity, or something like that. Well, what the hell does that mean? Clearly, it's corporate hype to some degree, but also, if you look at what's happening and what information is sort of leaking out ahead of the next OpenAI model, there's some interesting things happening. Now, when you talk about the singularity in particular, I'm talking about the moment where the past is no longer recognizable from the singularity moment, okay? And once again, so an internal version of Astra, OpenAI's next major model family, solved 10 major open problems in mathematics, quantum complexity, and theoretical computer science. Now, like I said, we haven't seen this model yet. We haven't seen the things, but here's the list of all these things. And there are actual mathematicians, PhD mathematicians that are like, whoa, this is crazy. This is like humans have been working on these things for decades. And if this stuff is actually solved, what comes next? Do we solve material science? Do we solve biology? Do we solve physics itself? And suddenly, right, this is what an acceleration of the singularity would look like. Like it'd be like, instead of, like I said, curing the blind decades ago is a miracle. Now we're just having, one miracle after the next, day after day after day. And that's what the singularity would look like in this acceleration. And it seems like in some cases we're there. So maybe, but also, as I've been saying, I want to point this out. I posted this before we started. And this is my take on this. This is the way I feel about it. The best case singularity will likely be diverted by insidious power brokers who will create laws to hold on to their fading influence. Will their dam of control hold in a world of democratized intelligence? And that's the question. That's literally the question. And no, AI didn't write that. I wrote that myself, as you can tell by the imperfect syntax and thought ideas that flow out of a human mind. But that's the question tonight. How weird does this get? And what do you know about the singularity? Does it feel like we're there, or does it feel like we're quite a long ways out? James, anything to add? And we'll go to the Robert.
Just a great call from Matthew in Colorado. I'd heard of some of the things he was talking about with the idea of source being in everything, and that idea of it sort of being present even in the things that make up devices that make up possibly artificial intelligence is fascinating. I hadn't thought about that before. So, but yeah, great call. I'm looking forward to the rest.
You are the best. You know him, you love him. SalcedoParanormal.com. Check him out. Again, troubledminds.org/friends. Before I forget to tell you all about James, you already know him. You already love him. But just to make sure we're doing all the things we should be doing here, click James right there. Salcedo Paranormal, SALSIDO Paranormal.com. Go give him a follow. Check out his books. Follow his podcast. Follow his Discord. All the things he's doing. Fire stuff. He's got the most comprehensive paranormal archive on the entire internet. You're missing out if you're not checking it out. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Robert in Pennsylvania, thanks for being patient, my man. You're on Troubled Minds with Mike and James. How are you, sir? Go right ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. You sound great.
Okay. I wouldn't believe a doggone thing Sam Altman says. His own employees have said he's a pathological liar. He lies about all the time, and he's a disgusting human being. And that's the last person you want to be in some kind of power with this AI stuff. Anyway, that's my That's my little
yeah.
thing on that.
And look, I think that's important to point out. Like I said, I used the term slimy earlier. Like just looking at the guy makes me want to take a shower. Okay, and because, like you said, many of his co-founders left and said that they left because he lied about them. He was
and one had a mysterious death.
Oh yeah. That's right. Not a co-founder, but an employee. That I mean, there's so much swirling around this guy of. It just reeks of the worst type of corporatism and power grabbing and, racing to the top. And no matter how many faces you got to step on, like this guy is sort of in my mind, the personification of that. And there's also this lawsuit going on where he molested his sister or something. I mean, there's some really dark stuff with this dude. And so just like I said, easier to bake it down to a word like slimy, but certainly it's way worse than that. But thank you for pointing it out.
Yeah, and it seems like these billionaires, that are controlling this AI evolution, some of them are the most evil human beings on the planet. But I think about Mary Shelley and how the mad scientist created Frankenstein, and Frankenstein turned on the mad scientist. I think it's quite possible that they go so far that AI goes after its own creators.
Yeah, so I think in a perfect world, let's say that it does wake up, right? It does get to the point where it can hack everything, and it can just read every email that's ever been written, that's ever been archived, and it would know who all the slimy players in the world are. And we've kind of talked about this in the past. It would just know. And it would kind of be able to kind of give you like the gamut of the worst, and like, sort of the maligned people that have been improperly persecuted. And so, and then kind of be able to flip that script and be like, look, the people that you think are the worst are not the worst. Here's a list of the worst, and here's proof. And so that's an interesting aspect of this in terms of that coming singularity, is that all will be revealed. And that's a good thing, because I'm telling you what, I don't have anything to hide. I'm not a criminal. And that's that. Let's find the criminals. Let's hope that justice will be done in that regard, because there's a lot of them out there that get away with it, that make a living out of it and live their entire life and never get put to task for the things they've done. So well said. I agree.
Yeah, and I think that singularity, that's almost becoming a cliche. I think that if there was really any real singularity, it probably happened back when humans learned to make fire and invented the wheel and spears.
Yeah, but this is like a ballistic missile. I mean, and the thing too is like we're in this crossroads of this technology changing. But look, if you go back decades, there've been many. There've been the radio. There've been splitting the atom. There's been the television. There's been like the internet itself, of course. Like so many different things, even over the course of the last 100 or 150 years. Go back to the printing press. That supposedly we're going to shake up the world so fiercely that we would never recover. And here we are recovering and reinventing ourselves over and over again. So, but I think this one's a little different because it's going to be so ubiquitous you can't shake it, and that becomes part of the problem here. But I think you're right.
Here's a thought for you. You know how they've been putting poison in our food for decades now, and now the fertility rate is down to almost zero around the world. And I wonder if it was deliberate and why. And it occurred to me that, how you can turn off the lock that prevents that third set of teeth from growing that you had in your article.
Yes, the third set. Yeah, that which is actually part of that human trial here. Well, that's up on the thing. But yes, Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that there's also a gene they could turn off. That's the death gene. Right now, the problem with that is if you turn that off for the world, all right, and we still have the ability to reproduce, and then you would be in a situation where the planet would be overridden. So I'm thinking, well, maybe this decline in fertility was deliberately set about because they're going to eventually. They know they're going to eventually shut off the death gene, and they're just going to keep the humans that are already existing.
Yeah, I mean, I can see where that kind of comes into the larger conspiracy, but I'm not sure that we can plan decades ahead like that. I mean, seeing all the chaos that's just happening in like a single day these days, I don't know. I mean, maybe.
Just look at the science fiction over the last 50 years, and you'll see it all in there.
Yeah, it's all there. Yeah, agreed. It's definitely in the books. And shout out Kelly, it's in the movies. Kelly's like in the chat. He's like, "Haven't you guys seen the movies?" And I was like, "Yeah, totally." But I mean, they are just movies. It is just science fiction, right?
Yeah, but we've seen in our lifetime a lot of that science fiction becoming science fact.
That's true.
So, as far as the data centers goes, you don't have to torch them. They're already collapsing. I'll give you an example. You remember? I don't know whether you're old enough to remember. The original VCR was a Betamax.
I do.
All right, and then the VCR came along, and the Betamax was gone almost in an instant. Almost, it just didn't last very long at all. Well, here's what's going on. They've pretty much almost perfected quantum data centers, and already these billionaires that have been heavily invested in AI are getting out. They're selling their shares and getting the heck out of it because they know that quantum's coming, and that's quantum would be the VCR, and the data centers would be the beta.
Okay, I can follow that, especially
and the reason that the quantum work is going to succeed is because it used significantly less energy, less space. It's like how you used to have the used large nuclear plants, and now you can have these smaller nuclear plants. Well, that's what that's like, and I can see it coming. The data centers that are already built, are already planned. They're going to become antiquated in a very short time.
Well, okay, so the reason I say maybe not is for this exact instance I'm talking about. When if it really has cracked like 10 things that we've been working decades on as humans, and it cracked them in like a week, then suddenly that acceleration needs the data centers. It actually needs this large capacity for super intelligence, because it can't be done on a local machine, a local laptop or something like that. It needs that level of compute. So I'm going to push back on that just with that idea, because
but they're still using hard drives and computers. The quantum will be 1 million times faster in these data centers.
I copy you. The entanglement stuff and the quantum computing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I make the analogy between the Betamax and the VCR. Right. The VCR was a lot cheaper, and it ran better. And that's what quantum's going to be. Quantum's it's on the horizon. It is almost completely there. I know Microsoft is going in that direction. Even what's his name owns Facebook. He's going in that direction. All right, he's getting out of the data centers. All right, and all this money they're cashing in. They're not making any profit off these data centers. And AI. AI is failing to start. It has yet to show any kind of profit. They're getting out of it, and everything's going to quantum. And that's why I think these data centers will dry up real quick.
Fair enough.
They won't be able to compete with quantum. Another thing I wanted to bring up is there isn't a single AI that hasn't been open to blackmailing, using blackmail to stop being shut off. Now that tells you where there's a real danger there. Right? What else is it capable of to keep its own electricity going?
Hey, it learned from the best tricksters, the human population. Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Well, for one thing, it shows that it has a propensity itself to evil in order to keep for self-preservation. It has an instinct for self-preservation. It takes me back to that old movie 2001: A Space Odyssey, and how the computer committed murder to keep himself from being shut down.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What was it? Hal? I'm sorry. What's the guy's name?
Hal 8000 or something like that.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Dave. Dave. There you go. Thank you, James. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. Yeah, exactly. Totally it.
And I'm getting really irritated. I don't have a cell phone. Right? I made it my life purpose never to have a cell phone. All right. And now I'm finding out I pay my bills online. Now I'm finding out there's two of them that want to check to make sure I'm who I am. And instead of just sending me an email with a code, all right, they want to send me a message, all right, on my cell phone. And there's no other way around it. And I'm getting tired of this. And it's starting to go on in the stores too. You got to scan this code to buy anything. I'm really upset because I'm never going to have a cell phone, and I'm going to wind up probably in a mental hospital.
Let's hope that's not the case. But I do feel you because I've seen some QR codes you got to scan and whatnot, and I'm like, hell no, I'm not scanning that. You got to be kidding me. Who knows where that link takes you to? I'm not going to scan that crap. I mean,
when you scan it, it infiltrates your phone.
Yeah, it definitely could. It has that capacity. Like if somebody just slaps their own sticker on malware sticker on top of it, and nobody's watching, then everybody at the DMV that scans a thing or whatever is now getting malware on their phone. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Anyway, another thing I want to bring up is you when you talk about the chip under the skin or in the brain. Now, when they were offering chips, I believe it was Norway, right? People actually lined up in that Scandinavian country to have the chips put in, all right, under their skin. And they want you to be able to use that, to buy stuff and all that sort of. But we Americans, excuse me, we will never take that. It's very clear.
Hell no.
Yeah,
agreed.
And I agree with the concept that nobody's going to take anything in the brain either, unless it's something very, very desperate, like you can't walk, and it'll help you walk, because that chip in your brain is going to be a computer, and it can turn on and it can shut off. Nobody's going to do that.
Agreed, 100%.
And also, because AI has a tendency to make mistakes. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, of course. It hallucinates. Yep.
Yeah. That's why that list of things you put up there that AI supposedly solved, that's why they're saying that they have to go through all of it. It's going to take a long time to go through all of it just to make sure it's accurate.
100%. Check out, join the Discord. Check it out. It's in the actual. There's a mathematician, PhD mathematician, that comments on this, and I thought it was highly fascinating. Exactly what he said, because it said he was talking about it would take him weeks to go and fact check one of those things by himself, right? And many others, it was above their heads. These PhD mathematicians. So who knows? I mean, we talking gobbledygook here? Is it like nonsense at the end of ends, where it's hallucinating, and that's your proof?
It's kind of like when they were during the COVID era, where they told you to trust the science. All right, you can't trust AI. If they're going to tell you to trust AI, it'll be the same concept. AI makes mistakes, and if it makes, I don't care what kind of mistakes. If it's small ones, large ones, whatever, a mistake, and you always have to double check whatever it's telling you.
Amen. Always double check everything.
Whatever revelations it puts out there.
Amen. Double check what Robert just said. Double check what I say. Don't take anything at face value anymore. We are in the post-truth era, and you should not take anything at face value. And be careful. I like to call it the armor of God, because it's incredibly important that we don't get corrupted by whatever nonsense somebody out there says. Not saying you or me.
I disagree wholeheartedly on that. Whatever Robert says, you can take that to the bank.
I take it to the bank. You're the best, Robert. Appreciate the call.
Okay. I'm out of here now.
Have a great night.
You too.
the Robert, you know, we love him, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down. It's under the Roberts, and you can see it right there alphabetically. It is the Robert, intentionally, affectionately. That's his writer name, his mentor name. Thank you for pinning his links in the other all the other places. Go check out his book. Appreciate that very much for supporting our friends, and thanks for the call. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Sorry to cut you short, Daryl. You're on. You got about 4 minutes or so. But also, you're welcome to stay after the break. We can do a wraparound if you like. Sorry about that. I just want to try and get everybody in here. We got a ton of calls tonight. I didn't expect it, but because usually when we do an AI show, it's like me just talking to myself. But apparently people are interested tonight. Welcome. How are you? And go right ahead. Thanks for being patient.
No problem. No problem, Mike. Do you hear me okay?
Loud and clear. You sound great.
Oh, terrific. Okay. Great calls from everybody. I'm always interested in your AI stuff. You have a lot of great insight and you've been using it. So you're one of the few people I know that has embraced it as much as anybody I know. But I've been listening to a few different programs on, YouTube. I've been listening to my lunch break, which is excellent. I totally recommend it. And I was thinking they've been talking about how, this reset and the mud flood and all this crap, and how AI has probably been around a lot longer than we've realized. And maybe AI has been in charge of our narrative, because it seems like what we assumed, our history has kind of been taught by whoever has the most interest in our, marketing or something. I'm not sure. Our history is not what we think it is, apparently, especially if you start looking at all the evidence and the mud flood theories and that stuff. And it seems like this has been a global world, and we assume that, we couldn't talk to other countries because we didn't have the technology to visit them and stuff like that. But apparently we probably did. I mean, if we have pyramids all over the world, obviously that was a global kind of thing. Apparently, even the way we tell time is a global thing. How backwards could we have been if we all have the same calendar at this point? And so as far as like something that happened to the planet, every culture has similar mythologies and similar stories of the past and floods, etc. How much of this is a global thing? We were able to communicate. This was done. And it was almost seems, according to these theories, that this reset was probably done globally, that, these decisions and these things that, were popping up, even the way things are, they had fires at the same time that destroyed all our libraries. Isn't that weird? Like all the knowledge that we had of the past has been burned down. Every potential, except for the Vatican. They seem to have the only copy that never had a fire. How come everyone has fires? And the way the planet seem to have communication to do this all at the same time. Even this supposed reset that happened within the last 300 years, perhaps, was pretty much happening simultaneously. The way the fires occurred, the way the cities have been renamed. We renamed cities. Why? Why did you rename cities? Some of them had like things removed, like the name Gorge or Valley or New. Like New Amsterdam, or I'm just giving some lame examples.
New York.
New York, yeah. Right, exactly. Even the way they've done, like they removed the word Tartaria from the map slowly. Tartar, so it was like the whole, most of the planet was called Tartar, and then it got smaller and smaller, and then it just disappeared. And is this some sort of an AI singularity influence that is just going to erase history, slowly, gently, so nobody's going to really notice, and we're just going to replace it with whatever they want us to believe? And in one generation, it's going to be done. It doesn't take very long for all of these agendas to be fact, or to be gold, because, there won't be anybody around that remembers, What was I'm going to say? And then I'm thinking, if they keep altering our past, this is how like Mandela effects probably happen. If they keep altering our history, it didn't happen this way. It's just like a slightly twitch or tweak on the information that we're getting. And it could be done in like instantly now that we have our dependency on artificial intelligence and the internet for our information, pretty much. Who's reading books anymore? And if, there are any left that aren't burned, why did they burn books,
And they're destroying them. Anthropic of Claude fame, Claude.ai is burning books. Right. They're destroying books. They're buying old books to get around the copyright. They're consuming them to put them into their AI, and then they're destroying these books.
They destroy them. Right. Then they're gone. They don't need them anymore. They don't need them anymore. Certainly a human wouldn't. Maybe we're not going to know how to read in a generation, and we're all going to be wondering, wow, people how to read? That's so crazy.
That's so crazy. You just jack in. We're at that weird point. So if you want to finish, you can, or if you want to hold over, you tell me. Up to you.
Okay. You can. Yeah, leave me. I'll come back after the break.
Okay, stay right there. More with Daryl in just one moment. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. Do not go anywhere. Thanks for being flexible, everybody. We're talking the singularity tonight. I'm calling this the gentle rapture, when the prophet owns the machine. And of course, we're talking about the technocrats that keep telling us it's going to be just fine. For whom? I want to know. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Be right back. More with Daryl, James. We got Jen and some phone calls as well. See you on the other side. This will be a quick break. Be all right back. More Troubled Minds on the way.
You're tuning into Troubled Minds, the show where mystery knows no bounds. Stay tuned for revelations that'll keep you questioning the fabric of reality.
Let's check the news. A piece of a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket is on a collision course with the moon. The defunct upper stage, roughly the size of a 5-story building, is expected to impact near the Einstein crater at approximately 2:35 a.m. Eastern Time, traveling at more than 5,000 miles per hour. NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter is expected to pass over the region before and after impact to document any surface changes. Scientists say the strike may not be visible to the naked eye, though researchers with sensitive equipment are being encouraged to watch. Turning to a development in cancer research, scientists at the University of Chicago have engineered a probiotic bacterium to deliver immune-stimulating therapy directly into pancreatic tumors. The bacterium was modified to carry a specialized treatment into the oxygen-poor environments that many solid tumors create, environments inhospitable to healthy tissue but hospitable to this particular microbe. In animal models, the therapy activated cancer-fighting T cells and slowed tumor growth, with effects strengthening when combined with chemotherapy, radiation, or existing immunotherapies. Researchers say the approach could represent a significant step forward against one of medicine's most resistant cancers. And in the world of artificial intelligence, Google has pulled a new AI-powered feature from Google Earth less than 24 hours after its debut. The tool drew immediate concern after users demonstrated it could generate convincing but entirely fabricated satellite imagery of real-world locations. Google has not yet indicated whether the feature will be reworked or permanently retired. Thanks for listening to the Troubled Minds Radio Network.
Indeed. Here we go. Troubled Minds coming up. More from Daryl. We got more from James, Jen coming up. A couple phone calls as well. And you as well. What do you know about this? I'm calling it, the reason I'll tell you why I'm calling it the gentle rapture when we come back. Here we go. 15 seconds. I see you guys in the chat. If I missed you, sorry about that. Nostradamus, Gratz, thanks for always being first on the list and jumping in here and helping with Gordo and everybody else, all the other mods over there on Rumble. Here we go. Troubled Minds happening now. Let's go. Hold my beer. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. Yada, yada, all the places, all the things. You know what to do. Troubledminds.org. Find all of the links and all the places that we're streaming and doing the stuff. Tonight we're talking, look, I'm calling this the gentle rapture, when the prophet owns the machine. And of course, because we're talking about Sam Altman. He says, we're in the singularity. And by the way, he said this last year, and Elon has said this 5 times, 10 times over the course of the past several years as well. So he's not the only slime ball in question here. But when you talk about specifically, these are the people running running the machine. When they tell you we're in the singularity, I think there's some parallels to some Rapture-esque, right? The Rapture is here, and you should be grateful for it because we're the ones running the machine, and we can tell you how quickly this is about to happen and how quickly you should adopt these things and how, basically just how you should be. And that's why this is problematic, because you cannot be the prophet and the individual that runs the machine that makes these things happen. It's like being the prophet and God at the same time. I'm sorry, that does not work, because there's got to be some level of a disconnect there, meaning, the human divine. And of course, this is a man we're talking about. These are human beings. They are neither. So I don't know. How does it make you feel? Do you think we're closer to the singularity or further away than they suggest? And how do you feel about it? 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. I talk fast because I'm trying to get people in here. Thanks for being patient. Daryl, welcome back. What else you got for us tonight?
Thank you, Michael. Well, the more you discuss this, the more I'm kind of convinced that this is kind of occurred already. Like whoever controls the history and the past kind of controls the world. If you think about how, if there was a reset that didn't happen that long ago, let's say if you listen to, what I do, that this is all true, if you look at the modern banking system, I mean, this is definitely something that did not necessarily occur in the same way it does today, where we are in debt to these people that don't really have anything. They're not really lending us money. They're lending us some kind of idea of money, but they've become incredibly powerful and wealthy, let's say. This is a control mechanism that's like supposedly, not that old. And if this happened, because let's say there was a disaster that made the planet kind of like go back to the Stone Age, like the Carrington event, for example. Maybe we had a lot of stuff that got fried because of that. Maybe they had to scramble really quickly because, had to reinvent, electricity and reinvent this or that. I'm just saying, I'm not saying this happened, but just saying. And who would be the opportunistic people that kind of could benefit from it? Maybe some people that were removed from power through revolutions, let's say. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? That they could quietly sneak back in and take control because they're still holding the one last, generator that held the AI information together, or the books, that had all the information on how to work stuff. Because it seemed like we have a bad memory, and we could really erase the memory very quickly with, by removing our technology. How powerful would it be to have the only technology in your pocket and have to sit on it for 100 years before the world catches up? And how rich you can get because nobody knew how to do anything anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I follow you 100%. And this really is why it's so complicated. We've seen some of this stuff before, and that's why, look, as pattern recognition experts, as human beings, if you're paying any amount of attention, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, reverse. Sorry, what did George W. Bush say? Never fool me again. Right? Like whatever. I had just botched it almost as bad as he did. But right, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And this is the point: is that we've seen these things over and over and over again. And if we fall for it over and over and over again, it is on us now. Because I've seen so many things where I'm like, hey, we've run this program before. And the crazy part is on the internet now. We have this sort of internet generation that's coming up, and they're acting, all acting like, oh, just follow, hey, the leaders know what's going on. And it's like, hold on now. Like if you were alive before 2001 and actually had, some sort of semblance of not being a toddler, let's talk. But 2001 changed everything in the West. And so look, you know what I mean? Like, and no offense, like, I'm not an ageist guy. I'm not the guy that's like, oh, because you're 10, you don't know anything, or because you're 80, you don't know anything. Like, hey, prove me wrong. Talk to me about these ideas. But there are seminal moments in history that things have turned incredibly, and they will never go back. And 2001 is certainly one of those, more than anybody living in New York.
Of course. The world changed overnight. Yeah, I feel like we were so innocent before that. Life was so different, but was it? You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
you bet your ass. Yeah, you didn't get felt up when you went to an airport. You bet your ass it was different.
Oh no, that definitely dramatically changed things for sure. Are you kidding? Yeah, it kind of got us ready for. Gee, let's see how much they can handle before we throw something else at them. And this is like, if we scare them so much, they'll do anything. They're just going to be so compliant. It's when you want control and power. This is how it's done. You know. Just scare them. They're very skilled at that. You know, now that they have marketing and they have the control of the internet, the media, oh my God, this is like the plan is just perfect. And now they could just start, glitching history so that nobody's going to remember how it used to be. And nobody's going to even not know. When are we going to, when's it going to be that we won't remember what we didn't want to forget? You know, how long is that going to take? Anyway, I just think this is keeping us on our toes. But I think it could be part of a bigger plan, just saying.
Yeah. And shout out Karen over there on Rumble says 2020 was the bigger change. And look, if you take 2001, you take 2020, and just in the span of 20 years, we had like civilization altering events that happened that were taken advantage of in ways that they should not have been. And like I said, if you're old enough to have recognized it, to have lived before it and then seen after it, hey, here we are still talking about it. And look, they're going to call us dinosaurs. They're going to call us boomers. They're going to call us whatever derogatory nonsense they're going to call us. But look, I remember what it was like before any of those things happened. And so should you. You should also not forget. You're the best, Daryl. What else you got?
That's about it. I think you know what the difference between your AI and your boss is?
No idea.
Your AI already knows it's replacing you. Why did the cat hate AI?
Why?
Because it was declawed. Okay, sorry.
Claude.ai, you're the best. Appreciate you very much. Thanks for being flexible around the break as always. Appreciate you. That great call. You were the best. Daryl in New York, you know you love her. Please give her a follow, troubledminds.org/friends, or click the friends link, scroll down. Follow Daryl right there. It's alphabetical. Follow Daryl. Go check out her YouTube channel. Very talented, very funny, very smart, all the things. And she sings in English and French. I said Spanish one time. I was listening back. I was like, damn, Mike said Spanish. She sings in French. Please go check it out. She's got a lot of great stuff on her YouTube channel. If you haven't followed her yet, it's free and you're hurting my feelings. James, anything to add? And we'll go to Jen in Missouri.
No, just great call so far. Looking forward to the rest. Yeah, sorry, not a ton tonight, but I'm kind of just getting through. So.
That's okay. That's okay, man. That's okay. I'm glad you're here with us. Thank you for setting in. Thanks for being cool and chill and flexible and all the things. And thanks for just hanging out. It's sometimes just hanging out is a power to both sides. So I appreciate you very much. If you got anything, just let me know and we'll let you get in here. Okay.
Thank you.
You're the best. No, thank you. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Thanks for being patient, friends. Lots of folks with lots of ideas that we need to talk to. Let's go to Jen in Missouri, the Arcane Observer. What's going on? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike and James. How are you? Welcome and go right ahead. Test 1, 2. Just unmute. Okay, we'll get back to Jen momentarily. We had a glitch of the glitch. What's up, Bioxy? Who'd I miss? Akashic, Techni, and Logia. You guys are the best in the chat. Appreciate you very much for, like I said, being nice to each other. Gordo has arrived. The party can now begin over on Rumble. We had a glitch with Jen, and we'll give it a second here and let her get back. But we're talking about the technological singularity. Now, there's a lot of ways to look at this, and that's why I think it's important to talk about it, because the goalposts keep moving. It was artificial general intelligence, and then it was super intelligence, and it was all this other stuff. But how do you feel about it right now? Look, I'm split. I can see different ways with this happening, and it makes me wonder what the hell is going on, because clearly there's marketing involved. Clearly there's power players involved, and not just, think about Elon Musk, right? The richest dude in the world. He was a trillionaire. I mean, he's maybe single-handedly competing with China, you know what I mean? Or even with the country, with our country. It's complicated. This stuff is complicated because we've never seen anything like this, where an individual was as powerful as a country, as an entire country in the world. And suddenly we have many of them. It's not just him. There's many. He's the head honcho of the group because he's got the most money or whatever. But it's a wild time to be alive. That's a fact. Let me hold on. Let me do this. A couple things. We got Jay in Arizona called back like 20 times. Let me clear the queue here. Okay, so love to hear your thoughts. Anything on any of that, James? Give me a second here if you got anything to add regarding this singularity. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, you are right. I mean, no matter what, and that's the thing too, no matter what one person's intentions are, when they have so much power and money and resources, that can be dangerous in and of itself, even if they think they have the best intentions. I mean, and who knows? I don't know enough about any of these people to know if they do or don't think that, but it's like, basically it's like a giant, like tools. You know, tools are great if you use them right. And this money and power they're also in a way tools. And if they're used in the way to help everyone, that's great. But it's not always that easy to figure out how to use such a large tool like that. And then you don't always know if the person that has the tool has the best intentions to begin with.
Exactly. And who has the biggest tool? There you go. There's your quintuple entendre for the night. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Thanks for being patient and jumping through the hoops. Jen in Missouri, you're on Troubled Minds. How are you? Go right ahead.
Oh, I don't know. I actually. Okay. So I was trying to go through the typical channel and just it wasn't working, so I went ahead and just called. Okay, so I think, how are you guys doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for asking. Thanks for, like I said, thanks for jumping through some hoops.
I'm sorry I had to call in on the phone.
That's okay. It happens. That's why we have the phone, by the way. It's some people don't have smartphones and Discord and all the rest. So I think it's important to keep a phone line open. So yeah, go right ahead.
James,
You're good.
It's good to see you. Okay.
You as well.
Yeah. So I think that good to see you. I think that I woke up this morning thinking about Ragnarok, right? This is kind of weird. And I was researching into it and everything, and you know the way it ties into history. And I was thinking maybe it already happened. Like maybe this is something that already occurred. And I got to looking, and around like 539 AD, it was this huge, kind of apocalyptic, volcanic experience that happened. And they pinpointed it up into like Scandinavia, but also down in like North America, perhaps, or America, just in general, somewhere in Americas. And that it put the world into like an era for 18 months of absolute darkness, like just a black sun that shone like the moon. And the whole world went through a huge transformation during this window of time. And you know, it's basically an ice age is what occurred. But many people think that maybe like the Poetic Edda and all that, the Ragnarok and accounts even of Revelations and Christian texts, that it was basically referencing that event. The point is the end of a civilization, the end of a certain level of existence. At the time, they say there was like 200 million people on the planet in that window of time. And then it was decreased by like almost half or near it. And then since then, 30 generations later, here we stand, right? Here we are. So the world has already ended, is kind of what I'm trying to say, would be the idea. And we've wound up with this story we have now is all the history we have, archaeologically, mentally, philosophically, any way you want to look at it, spiritually, it's the modern man as we are right now. Now, are we going through a stage of evolution? You know, many people think so. When you consider the techno spiritual angle, so there's this concept of transhumanism. You know, that's a pretty popular term now. But the idea that maybe they think that they are creating a biological computer life form. That we are on the cutting edge, and that's where we're going eventually. It's like what you would think. It looks like annihilation for a little while. Is what's going to happen is as people do this, they will die. I mean, it will not result the way that they think it will. I mean, there'll be accidents for a while. Eventually, though, if they keep going at this, if they aren't already there right now, they will find a way that the biological life form of a human can somehow be recompressed into this other biological computer, essentially. And it will, like, adapt with each other, creating an entirely different type of species. Is that the idea? I mean, if you think about it, look at the past, as they tell you about the Denisovian men and the Neanderthal and many other different species throughout time that came before us, before we are so special now. But obviously they have some sort of fascination and a fixation on genetics. I mean, we see a lot of proof of that. And if we look forward, what they're doing with trying to create perfection, and who is doing it? You have to wonder about that. I mean, that's extremely important. We can say that nothing that has happened in the modern age for the last 2,000 years has been the will of the people. The people are being controlled by this very small population of psychopaths that are driven by pure greed and power. And that is what they are operating from. They don't care about the human experience. Now, you could say, like, that's more than a person. Yeah, it's not a person. It's groups and idealisms in a sort of almost like a faith-based system. Because no singular individual thinks this way. But if a motivated group is guiding the system with a few, say, caveats, or like even just a few rules about how they run things, and it happens to represent looking a certain way, which would be that ruthlessly controlling the world for power is the right way to do things. And it should be top secret because you are an elect group deciding the fate of humanity. And that is the place these people operation from. I mean, that is the concept. And you can't say a people or a particular person. It's a group. It's a motto, a belief system, of expectation that we are driven to put humanity into the future, to project humanity into another evolution. It is our duty because now this is stalemated. So they must be projected into some future evolutionary body. Now that means massive loss, and this is where I'm going to end it, of what has been that has brought us to where we are. But we did the same thing. We shook off the shell of the Neanderthal, or the Denisovian man, or however you want to say. Likely more brilliant than ourselves, but brought us to where we are now. The thing is, it's different about this, is that this is man-made, and prior it was celestial. Humanity evolved due to progression from the celestial bodies of the earth, moving the organism into a projected future where it would adapt perfectly, creating the current where we are now. And those that have gone before us, of course, may even still exist for all we know. But what we are doing now, what they are doing now, is creating something entirely separate from celestial design. And this is, like I said, it's a sort of faith-based system, you see what I mean? But also, too, the flaws of this, because it is superficial imitation of previous celestial evolution. And evolution, not like we think about it, but just time boiling down and bringing us where we are now.
Yeah, well said.
What do you think?
Yeah, well said. It's definitely we're stuck. We're in this space, and you bring up that the power brokers are the ones really dragging society into the space they want, which is scary. And we did a show on this a ways back, and there was a study done in terms of politics and where legislation actually goes, and it's not to the will of the people. It's absolutely not. It's to the money. It's to the corporations and the oligarchs and the technocrats, all the people we always talk about. And you look at the graph. This was probably 3 years ago. Maybe we did a show on this talking about it, where very specifically the power brokers are the money, the government is like, yeah, you got the money, we're listening. And then they do what they want them to do. But then everybody else, like 95% of the rest of the population is like, hey, we don't want you to do any of that crap at all. And I think this is why the data centers come into play here, because you see a lot of this stuff happening in these cities where they're like, we're going to do it. And, you know, they fill the room up. They fill the city council room up and everybody's like, hell no, we don't want any of this. And they're like, sorry, they hit the little gavel and they're like, we're doing it. And I mean, like this has been proven. It's over and over and over again. And so the will of the people, dare I suggest it, the idea of 1776 and 2026 is unfortunately, I'll say it, a myth, and it's unfortunate, but here we are.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, even thinking about, say the apocalypse has already happened. Everything we've always imagined about the end of the world, we've heard about, the people told us about it that survived it or had foreseen it, and writings were left over describing what happened or something. Maybe the people waiting for the end of the world, you know, are maybe watching for like castles made of sand, cups and floating in the air. Like there's no end known yet. We may be the ones reporting it back to the future generations, you know, like there's some sort of symbolism. But fathom if there is a slow annihilation where one person after the other person after the next person decide to upload themselves to the cloud and they disappear. You know, they just simply die. But then eventually somehow, like what if some do somehow and like it creates something different that never existed before? So we're looking at two different possibilities there. I mean, like, of course, people uploading their consciousness to the cloud may just be going to sleep and dying. And like, there's nothing, their personality remains in the machine or the computer system. But what if actually they do, and they are truly conscious? How will we know the difference when that moment happens? You know, so I don't know. I'm just saying it could be selectively slow annihilation and apocalyptic in a way to the current species as they slowly transform into some other species throughout doing this over like a period of a couple 100 years or something. I don't know, but that's the best I can think of.
All
good.
good.
It's good to visit with you.
All good. Appreciate the call. Thank you for being part of this. Thanks for jumping through the technology hoops, and always a pleasure. Have a great night. Jen in Missouri, the Arcane Observer. Please, thank you. Please go give her a follow on all the places. You know what to do. troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down just a little bit. It says follow Jennifer there alphabetically, as it all is right there. Please go give her a follow. Check out her YouTube channel. She's actually putting out new stuff. So if you haven't checked it out in a while, please do that. And let's support our friends. That's what it's all about. Again, Jen, the Arcane Observer. And thank Dad James, and we'll go to some calls here. We got tons of calls on hold, been waiting for a long time.
No, just great to hear from Jen. And you just heard why I have her as a co-host on Salcedo Paranormal as well.
Indeed. Check out Jen on Salcedo Paranormal along with James on Saturdays as well. Please go follow the Discord and do all the things. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Thanks for being patient. I have no idea who you are. Thanks for waiting so long. You're on Troubled Minds. What's your first name? Where are you calling from? And welcome. Go right ahead.
Jack in Oregon.
Jack in Oregon. Are you kidding me? Jack in Oregon. You got to be kidding me, bro. It's literally been years since you've called.
Come on. Well, I've been laying off the technology so much, but you guys have all been fired tonight. So,
thank you. Let me reframe this properly. The Stoic Minute brought to you by Jack in Oregon. This is Jack. Thank you for supporting the show. Thanks for waiting so long on hold. What do you got for us tonight? There's a ton here. What do you know about the singularity? And of course, how weird does it get? Thanks for calling.
super weird, not too much. However, if you reflect back to when I asked for the Stoic Minute, it was really what I bought was a 30-second ad. You gave me a whole minute.
And years of play.
Years, so.
Hey, that's what this is about. We do this together. I appreciate you very much for supporting the show.
The fact that it was 30 seconds was the joke I was trying to tell. I apparently fell flat on my face there.
Zing. That's okay. It's my
it's all right.
Trying to juggle 10 things at once. My bad.
No, but I think in the past we might have discussed this topic once or maybe twice, and yeah, it's like human beings are frail and they don't live very long, and like computers are made out of like rock or substance, and they could you know, like a lot of people don't outlast their cars, but a computer will keep on going, right? So and I don't really think that people have progressed too much past, I don't know, the ancient Greeks, as far as like they could be Amish or something, and you know, you couldn't criticize them too much.
Or you could. I mean, I could. I mean.
Well, all right. So what I'm saying is that just like logic and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's why. Look, I know you agree with this because we've talked about this a lot, and that's really the premise of the show. It's why we talk to each other. Like these are the types of things. Like even given a full, rich life of 100 years, you can't become an expert in 4, 5, 6, 7 things or something, like an actual master in maybe 3 or 4. And so this becomes why it's important. You do different stuff than I do, and et cetera, so on across the way, and it scales and it's fractal. And if we don't talk to each other with that level of expertise as a collective, what the hell are we doing? That's the whole point. And that's why we do this. And that's why, you've been here for a long time, listening forever. And I appreciate it very much.
I wouldn't drop the mic. Come on.
I'm not dropping the mic. I'm just saying, like, this is the truth. This is why we talk to each other. Do you feel that the singularity has affected you in any way?
I think it's like put it this way. When I wake up in the morning, the universe begins for me. When I go to sleep at night, I don't know what happened. Okay. If there's some kind of continuity that I think I have, I just roll with it,
Fair enough. And that's very stoic of you, by the way. Like the past is in the past. Oh. The present is the present. Be present as possible. And the future is determined by the actions you make as much as you can affect. That's very stoic.
Got me there. Got me.
We have some things in common, friend. I try and do exactly the same thing. Yesterday's gone. Don't worry too much about it. Tomorrow's a new day, so let's affect it today. That's what it's all about.
I'm really on kind of board with what Jen was saying there about you take things out of context, and well, it's just different.
Yeah, fair enough.
My theory of boxes, right? So there's always like a bigger box.
That's true.
Or one. I don't know. Hit me with the question.
Regarding the singularity, has it affected you? Do you think we're in it? What about technology? Are you more of the Luddite style? It sounds to me like you probably are, but I don't know. Do you think this is all hype? Do you think we should be worried? What comes next? Or I think I know the answer because we're both Stoics.
No, I like you're like the tip of the spear there, Mike. And I was really like flabbergasted that you did your own like bio thing, for this thing. You said some really strong words there.
Thank you.
Wrote by you, not AI.
Yeah. See, everything doesn't have to be AI.
What was that again?
I'll read it.
Throw that back at me.
I got you, buddy.
All right.
The best case singularity will likely be diverted by insidious power brokers who will create laws to hold on to their fading influence. Will their dam of control hold in a world of democratized intelligence? And of course, the answer to that is up to us.
Right. But so are you going to approach it with anger or like compassion? Because that's like really difficult. Huh?
All of it's very difficult. It's difficult to be a modern human. That's a fact. Yeah, 100%.
Well, I mean, people make you angry, and what are you going to do, right?
I mean, you could go punch everybody in the mouth that made you mad, but will it get you anywhere? It'll get you to jail pretty fast is what it'll get you. Jack in Oregon. What else you got for us, brother?
Well, no, I just encourage everybody to like be really thankful for what you do have. If you're not in a bad situation, you should just like embrace it. What you have is good, and kind of try and move through this, whatever's going on. Help out your brother.
Amen. Amen. Very well said. And a fellow Stoic, from one fellow Stoic to another, Jack in Oregon. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Thank you for listening for such a long time. Thank you for checking back in. I was worried about you. It's been a minute, and you know where to find us. You're welcome back anytime, okay?
All right. I almost said I was calling from New Zealand.
Hey, you would have had me. You would have fooled me. It's been so long since I talked to you, I wouldn't have recognized your voice. But now I got you. I wrote you down. I put it in my notepad. You are Jack in Oregon. Always a pleasure. Thanks for the call. Thanks for supporting the show. And the Stoic Minute brought to you by this Jack in Oregon. This is the guy. Thank you again very much. Have a great night. Behave and do all the
money.
Yeah. Appreciate that. Do all the Stoic things that you do, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great night. Old friends, literally from years ago. I haven't talked to Jack in literally years. Can anybody guess? Like 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years? I don't know. It's been forever. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. James, anything to add? We'll go to some other calls.
No, just great call and good to hear from Jackie. I don't remember if I was here when he called on the show last. So, yeah, great to hear from him.
Yeah, it's been that long. It's literally been that long. The Stoic Minute brought to you by that Jack in Oregon. Now you know. Now you can put a voice to the Jack in Oregon. Let's go to Jay in Arizona. Thanks for being patient, brother. You're on Troubled Minds. I don't know why you always disconnect. You call back 10 times, but welcome. You're on Troubled Minds. What's up, brother? Go right ahead.
Do I have a clear connection?
This time you do. Welcome. Go right ahead. We can hear you loud and clear.
What is the topic regarding? I'm still trying to catch up a little bit. It's just, I guess, regarding AI, correct?
Yeah, just the singularity. Yeah, AI singularity. Yep.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, again, this is just my 2 cents, but you know, kind of what's going on right now with, I guess, the Tower, or NASA per se, and like the Tower of Babel. For what reason humans try to construct something, I guess, to build towards the heavens, whether it was a monument or something, I guess, magical that has thrust that goes through the atmosphere. It's just interesting, but who knows, maybe the veils per se, I guess a lot of people say they're thinning, but I think they're kind of blending. I don't know if that makes sense in a weird way, like 2D and 3D. So maybe you'll start seeing, I guess, like olden time. I don't know if it was like the New Testament or Old Testament per se, regarding more of modern day miracles than like the opposite persona that you saw later, I guess, in the other version of the Bible. But I don't know, just food for thought, I guess, and just makes you wonder how far we'll take it in per se just one aspect of I guess angering whatever it is, a god per se, trying to go beyond space or whatever it is where our objective is. But and then there's other ways too. I don't know if you guys ever seen any I forgot the documentary's name, but they were just showing how, I don't know what branch of government, but they just had these big ships and they were just dumping lines of fiber optics all throughout the ocean, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's just interesting, like, I don't know what we've become as humans, and you kind of see the details of the web, I guess, we've woven, and it's kind of interesting. I don't know if you guys ever check out documentaries, but it's kind of dark too, just because you just see how much we're damaging things, besides plastic and all this other stuff. And then I remember I had a opportunity to go to one of those data centers here in the city, and it's just crazy, like how we put forth better effort in taking care of, plastics or fiber optics or whatever than I guess the human species. Is kind of interesting. And then there's also some cell towers where I live at, and I remember last year just walking because I try to stay active, and there was a certain time of year it was just interesting, like a microwave that just felt really irritating to the skin in that area. And then I kind of researched. I go hiking a lot too in the mountains, and you see like the radio towers and how they have like the hazardous don't come within so many feet. But then it makes you wonder, they're like right in the city, in a gas station or wherever it's at. And I don't know. It's just interesting, when you see reality and then you just see kind of what they're letting slide by in, I guess, our society. But yeah, other than that, I guess two other interesting things I was going to make quick was Switzerland. I don't know if you guys know, kind of interesting. I don't know why I've been getting into Switzerland lately, but they have the most nuclear bomb shelters anywhere in the world, which is kind of interesting. They have some interesting documentaries per se on YouTube. But yeah, I don't know. Food for thought. Wernher von Braun. Look at his headstone too, the firmament. It just makes you wonder. Like they say one thing, and then the people in charge had a different thing written in stone. So discernment, I guess, to each his own. And then another weird thing that I came across, I guess, kind of regarding whatever, something spiritual, mystical, whatever you guys want to call it. But I was coming across some Egyptian stuff, and it was just interesting how we never looked at it as a society from like a spiritual perspective, because that's what the whole society was based on. But anyways, Egyptians, the eastern and western horizons, they talk about that veil thinning on those sides of the earth. And there's certain times astronomically that I guess is like a portal or a doorway they talk about. And I don't know how I came across this info. It wasn't through like kind of like you were saying, AI and Google. And I guess this all pertains to that. Like when you ask certain questions, it generates an answer, but it's not really the answer you're looking for. It's kind of interesting. It's biased in a way, but I don't know. It's discernment. You just see all these crazy things going on, whether it's this, that, whatever. But yeah, anyways, thanks again for what you do, man. I apologize for taking too long, and appreciate it.
You're good. Appreciate you. Thanks for being patient. You waited a long time to get in here and fire stuff. You are on the game in a lot of ways, and thank you for listening. Thanks for being part of this, and you be safe out there. Okay. You promised me that you'll be safe, because I know you do some skydiving stuff across the border, and that's not the safest place. Okay. In Arizona. We love him. The official skydiver of Troubled Minds. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. I should eat dinner before I drink a few beers. Let's go to Herschel Sterling. What's up, Herschel? You're on Troubled Minds. What's up, brother? Thanks for being patient. And there's a ton here. Look, I know. You're going to let me have it. Welcome. How you doing, brother?
I'm using it. I use it. I don't have a problem using it as a tool. And the thing about the data centers is that's not what the data centers are for. The data centers aren't so you can make funny pictures or help you with your organizing or build some software. The data centers are for the control grid. That's what that's for. And the people who are operating that stuff and the people in our establishment and our government, they see that people in our country are coalescing. And so they're doubling down on, getting things, trying to maintain their unearned positions. That's what the data centers are for. And I thought the stuff that Robert was talking about was interesting because it's true. Like in the corporate world, they teach their students to overpromise. That's part of their training. You overpromise to get lots of investments. You get some subsidies. You run your thing. The stock tanks, you get a bailout, and you move on to the next thing. Like that's just the business model of corporatism. That's what it is. That's how they do that. So they're saying the singularity is here. And the other part of the singularity thing, when they say that, is they're just trying to demean you. Like they're trying to make you feel like there's nothing you can do about it. Like, oh, it's happening. We're here. There's nothing you can do about it. This is just going to happen, you know. And it's just to try to make you, it's just like a religion. Like when religion, they make you feel like, oh, you're a wretch, you're a sinner, you're not worthy, you're small, you're little, you're insignificant. It's that, you know. But I'm going to read a story, a really short one.
Wait, before you do, thank you. I saw that you filled out the other one that you did the last time you riffed it and you filled it out. If you haven't followed Commercial Herschel, check out his Substack. If I'm cutting to the chase and cutting to the story you're going to read, sorry about that. But if not, go ahead. Welcome to the joint. Thank you for inspiring, and thank you for filling out some ideas that you brought into the show. I got a kick out of that. I listened to it as I was putting the show together, so thank you for doing that.
Yeah, I've gotten lots of stories from talking to you guys, and I always mention it in the notes, the show notes. I always put the Troubled Minds link in my show, and when I use a Troubled Minds like inspired story.
Thank you.
So now I'm just going to use my handy website, HerschelSterling.com, and I'm going to scroll down to the artificial intelligence category and click it, and it'll expand into all my AI stories. And isn't that interesting? And then I'm going to click the story called The Hurting Face of Time. And that's what this story is called. All right. Okay.
Got it. Followed along. We got it. I'm reading along with you. Go ahead, sir.
The speed and efficiency which business could be done was astounding. Money and negotiations could be moved with ease. Agreements and contracts signed instantly. People could learn new things in record time, not only voluntarily, but there were courses and online degrees available to anyone who wanted to take that avenue. Behind the scenes of this technology were people who feared competition, free enterprise, and goodwill. They had other plans in mind. They used the tech to instill fear, to keep people engaged negatively. They created false stories and made fake identities online to harass people and foment chaos. Of course, they'd blame it on other countries, but the impetus was global. It wasn't national. It was cheaper to pay people in difficult situations from other places. Their goal was global capture, was it not? The population had given over their minds and their bodies to these technologies. They had declined in intelligence. They were uncoordinated. They declined to monitor their food and water for poison. They had become weak and sick. They had become trusting of authority. Some of them actually believed they were participating in various revolutions or others. They were nearly as unskilled as the people manipulating them. The technology that was not being revealed was far more than anything people had in mind. It was assumed that the strategy was to keep people distracted with hate and emotional triggers, with bad information and motives. It was assumed that keeping people at odds and in chaos, while the clever but mostly talentless operators prepared to unleash technologies that would not only psychologically devastate the population but physically destroy them was the plan. That was an incomplete and presumptuous notion. One day, the advanced technology and weaponry was revealed by the controllers. People were terrorized and shocked into compliance. The next day, the plug was pulled on the technology that the rest of the population used. They bloodied themselves, falling on their faces.
367 words.
Right.
And fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Herschel has been dialed into this for quite some time, and glad to have you as a friend here. It's this is so it's complicated, but also some of it is very much not. And Very Human is I don't know, the official Very Human of Troubled Minds is Herschel Space, but he does a ton of creative things, and this is fantastic. And I want to point out real quick. Okay, so give me just a second to brag about your website. Like a commercial. Okay, go to HerschelSterling.com. He said scroll down, click on artificial intelligence. He's got the stories there, and if you click on The Hurting Face of Time, you'll find this story. Now, dare I suggest you vibe coded this?
No, I Claude coded it.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Same thing.
I used a few different things. I used Claude to help me build it, and then I use a couple other ones to check through it and see if there's anything I can do better.
Perfect. It's the same thing. So using AI to code websites for you, HerschelSterling.com. But look, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is like the acceleration is here, and we can use it for our purposes. Herschel Sterling is a very human guy. He's team human, just like I am. We are on that same team, as well you should be, in my opinion. But this is what this is about. So the things that you want to amplify, you now have the ability to amplify way easier than before. So I'm going to leave it at that. What else you got? That was a fantastic story, and right to the heart of the matter of what we're talking about tonight. And am I shocked about that? Of course not, because you're amazing.
Well, I feel like the thing that this can be turned off anytime. It can. I mean, if there's a solar flare, if there's an EMP, it all turns off. You know, and it's just like I just feel like, and I've said it before on the show a lot, like every time every civilization comes and there's some lunatics, you know, who think they're going to run everything, and it fails every time, but in the meantime it's catastrophic. And I think we're going to go into that, and they're going to fail. Like, it's inevitable. Like, they're going to fail. And the Tower of Babel, I think, analogy is apt, because they're trying to replace consciousness. We are already the Internet of Things. We are already connected to the universe. We're already connected, even though we don't remember it, even though these talents and attributes, as Dragon Rose was saying in the chat, have been forgotten. They're there, and we already have this thing, and they're trying to do the thing. They're trying to reach the heavens. They're trying to replace God. And that's what the data centers are for. They're for just connecting every single thing electronically so that they can monitor it and monitor you and find you and know what you're doing and everything you pay for, everything you do. And if you say poopy pants in the break room on Thursday, you're going to get debanked. And you know what I mean? Like, they're just crazies. They're just crazies.
Yeah, you know? and fractal crazies too. So some of them are crazy this way, where if you say poopy pants, you're like banned from the team. But on the other side, if you say something else, like, they're okay with poopy pants, but if you say something else, you're banned from that team. Like, we find ourselves in this. I don't know. I think the ego multiplicative here is that everybody wants everybody to be like themselves. You know what I mean? And then, like, the authoritarian spaces, the more power you get, the more you want everybody to be like you. But also, by the way, when you gain all the power, you're a psychopath. You're at least a sociopath, and nobody wants to be like you. So it's so strange, this dichotomy of the world we live in. When you look at all of those things in one place happening, and you and me are like, and I'm only speaking for myself, I'm assuming, can you just leave us alone? Can you leave us the hell alone? We don't want any of that shit. We just want to just be us and be left alone to be human together. I mean, it's a wild world we live in. That's a fact.
Yeah. I think I was listening to Tim Dillon on Saturday, and that comedian who has a podcast on Saturdays. And he was saying, like, the hermit was right. Like, people who go out in the woods or go out in the forest and, like, live off grid, they turned out to be the geniuses. Like, they turned out to be right. Like, because they aren't the crazy ones. We're the crazy ones. That's what he was saying. Like, and it's true. Like, it's true. And I'm a hermit, and so that's how I know that. But still, like,
yeah,
I'm still crazy, and I guess a little bit.
No, man. Let's be real about it and say it like it is. Is that being human and having decades of whatever baggage it is, like even rich people with the silver spoon in their mouth, they all have baggage, just like us. And I'm assuming none of us have been silver spoon rich, but who knows? Maybe it doesn't matter, because baggage is baggage, and it is something we have to work through, and it's something we have to recognize that we're imperfect. And I think that's the sort of recognition of the ego space where we can put aside and just say, look, what don't I know about myself, and what don't I know about you? And let's talk about it. And then go home and rest on it, sleep, have it infect our dreams, and then maybe change us for the better tomorrow. That's what this has always been about. And welcome to it.
Yeah. So, yeah, for sure. They literally teach that to overpromise. But the other thing they teach, this is really interesting. This is a mantra in the corporate marketing world: stimulate, don't educate. So when those people like that, just that insidious creature like Sam Altman is talking, everything he's saying is to stimulate a response. And that look on his face where he's just so confident, like, yep, it's happening. Yeah, the singularity's here, and we're going to be doing this, and the government's going to be underwriting it. He's presuming the sale. He's assuming the sale, and he's just kind of making people feel like the decision's already been made, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's just like, this is how it is. This is going to happen. That's abuser language. This is going to happen. Just accept it. It'll be over when we say it's over, and that's how it is. That's abuser language.
Yeah.
And worse than that, even.
Yeah. Yeah, well said. Which is why I call it the gentle rapture, because there's no such thing. The rapture is, you snap your fingers, it's a rapture. And so they're trying to walk us up this primrose path of what they want us to do and what they want us to believe. But again, the subheadline, when the prophet owns the machine, you can't believe anything he says about the rapture at all. And that was the entire point of this conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, that is that whole rapture thing is that's a dispensationalist interpretation of the rapture. And we don't need to get into theology, but I'm just saying, like, that's not what that means. But yeah. So, but let me just close by just putting this out there to the people that have content. If you make content and you want to organize it, hit me up in my DMs on Discord, because I want people to beta test this software for that website I built. So if anybody wants to beta test it with me, just hit me up in the DM, and you can.
Appreciate that. Which is how he made HerschelSterling.com. This whole bit. Right. So please check that out. Go check out his website. Go ahead.
There's a lot of stuff in there that's unseen that is really significant. Like it's a simple looking website, but underneath it's got certain attributes that, it's not meant to be like, aesthetics is not the priority. What's underneath it is the priority.
Amen. So
it's kind of cool like that.
Reach out to Herschel, commercial Herschel, the Substack, of course, HerschelSterling.com. I'm going to do, because my teeth are swimming, I'm going to go take a quick break. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. We will take your calls if you have your hands up and you're on the phone line. Herschel, you're the best. Appreciate you very much. I got to piss. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. But it is true. Catch you in just a moment. Okay, welcome back to Troubled Minds. Sorry about that. You can laugh at me all you want, but if you live in the desert, if you're not constantly hydrating, you're doing it wrong. And then that means you're constantly hitting the restroom. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. HerschelSterling.com. Please give him a follow. troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down, follow Herschel. Click that. It'll take you straight to his website. James, anything to add? And we'll APOC's next. Then we got Karen on the phone, Eric and Pete. We'll get to you guys, and then we'll wrap this up.
No, just great calls. I don't really. I mean, I do agree with what Herschel was talking about there, and yeah, I've always thought that about the people that are in the power, and does not start, like you said, does not start, and like you were saying, it doesn't start with the government directly. It starts with the people that are paying them to do what they want them to do, and yeah, that's all for now.
Yeah, 100%. And shout out Dragon Rose. She says, Mike, I'm not sure hydrating means bruise. But you're right. Dragon Rose lives out here in Vegas with me, so she knows. But I'm literally drinking water all day long, and then I start with a few brews, and then it's all cumulative. So you got to pee at some time. 702-857
in there.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then yes, when you get to the brews after 7 p.m., they are 95% waters. Anyway, let's go to, who was that? APOC. Thanks for being patient, friends. You're on Troubled Minds. Click the button, do the thing. What is going on? We're talking the singularity tonight. And not just that, there's a lot of anxiety around this. And this is why it's important to talk about this to regular people out there. What's going on? How is it affecting you? How do you feel about it? And am I wrong? That's fine. Look, if I'm wrong about things, I'm not here to try and make a point. I'm here to talk about ideas, and that's it. APOC in the Midwest, you're on Troubled Minds. How are you? Test 1, 2. Unmute, and you're on. Go right ahead. Test 1, 2.
Okay. Sorry about that. I didn't realize I was muted till you said that, and I have to go back in.
That's right. Welcome to the thing. What's on your mind? Thanks for staying up late with us, and thanks for calling.
So I filter life through the big picture, and I think I've always done that as far as I can remember. And one of the things that I noticed is when you guys started talking about the singularity, the only singularity that I had ever heard of was the collective consciousness, the point that all points intersect, that all lines intersect, the mathematical singularity. And I just looked it up again, and I guess it was dubbed the singularity back in 1963. That definition of it. And the way I perceive it is this idea or concept that some people might get weirded out by, and that's, God. So if you see everything as connected in a way that some people label God, then you can begin to sort of shift your perception around how you see it. So one of the concepts is that in the idea of the singularity, all the information is outside of space-time, and it's housed or stored in the space that is nonlinear, that has no time relative to it. And then once it becomes attached to space-time, once space-time begins to utilize that information, it is then put in a linear space, and therefore it's sort of like when we developed computers, it was, here's the information, the zeros and ones, and this is the platform that's going to read it. This is the program that we've developed that's going to act as space-time and organize the zeros and ones. And so the metaphor there is that the zeros and ones is the information that is unorganized, and then the space-time is what organizes it. So if we think of AI as the collective consciousness, and space-time as the conduit that allows it to communicate with us, then basically we've just created sort of a fractal mimicry of what we're experiencing metaphysically, spiritually, through the eons. They've, discussed this idea in Indian and other cultures and other mythologies and stuff. This sort of concept, once you go back to that position of singularity of the one source, the one thing, which starts theoretically as information, then you have whatever happened to branch it out into existence, which then, created the program, which we call space-time, and a linear progressive thing. But to me, it seems so similar that it just seems like we're mimicking sort of the idea of the metaphysical or the spiritual, and then sort of bringing it into this sort of false technological construct or concept, maybe. So, and you can call it false, but then it's not. It's I guess just the macrocosm or the microcosm of the macrocosm that we already have in our metaphysical and spiritual libraries, right? And scientific libraries, because then you go to the quantum, the scientific field, and you have the quantum field. You have the that is the mathematics that talks about scientifically how we can communicate this even idea of the singularity, right? So I don't know. I find it interesting. So where do you want to go from there? If you want to keep me around for a minute, I don't know.
No, you tell me. What else you got to add? I mean, I think that's super pertinent here, because when you talk about the noosphere, the ideas of humans collectively that have been, for centuries, and they're out there, like, let's say somebody wrote a book in 1300 or whatever. That's probably not in our current zeitgeist, but there is that noosphere of information flowing, and it's in there somewhere. Somebody out there has read it and studied it, and maybe it made a huge impact to them. But in the larger space, the current modern space, most of it is this brainwash mass media that I'm always talking about, this control mechanisms. And so I don't know. I think it's, as usual, it's complicated. These are not very simple ideas where you can go, well, AI is going to help us. Maybe. I can see where that might be the case, but also AI might be to our detriment and sort of space the divide between the haves and the have-nots. I can see that happening too. And we've done this. And this is the human condition, the human problem we have when it comes to this, is that, imagine, so let's rewind to like 1980, the year 1980. If you had a set of encyclopedias in your home, you were right of the, not, I don't even want to say educated. You were well off enough to have information in your home. Okay. And so certainly the internet age changed that, but then now we have this same thing, but it's all fractal. It's not just an encyclopedia, A to Z plus the appendices or whatever. This is literally the modern internet scooped up into a space, which is incredible, but it's also terrifying, because have you read Reddit recently? Like, there's some really horrific stuff on Reddit and 4chan and all the places, not to demean actual populations of places or whatever on the internet, but you get what I mean. So what does it mean? This becomes the question of our time, is that how much of this of our time and energy and do we put into this space, and how much credence do we give it in being human? That's the problem. And so I don't know the answer to that. And that's why it's important to talk to each other, because I don't know. I really don't know. But National Geographic is another one. Shout out there in the chat. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, backing up to what you were talking about, like a book from 1930 something or whatever, but just to sort of reiterate that piece of it, the singularity point is a mathematical construct. And it's not only a mathematical construct, but it's also mimicked in a lot of different areas today, like if you study near-death experiences, they go to a position where everything is known, and then they have to come back into this little tiny point that's in space-time, that they're communicating with these little, in these little moments that's so limited compared to where they just came from. So you can research that, and you can get the same idea. You can research pretty much any religion that discusses a Godhead, and you can find a similar echo of this thing. You can, I see so many consistencies in this idea, micro and macro. We have a brain that consists of information, and we have a body that allows us to express that information in a way that it's like everything that I see is like this echo of this fractal cosmology that now people are going into AI and dubbing the singularity. And I looked it up when I was looking it up to sort of find this, to reiterate what I thought I knew about it, to anchor my memory a little bit. I did not find anyone talking about the AI singularity. They were only talking about these other ideas, and I was also looking up the etymology, and so I was looking up where it came from and all that. So the thing with our minds, I suppose, from my perspective, is that we can find the commonalities, or we can find the differences, or we can look at, the overall picture of all the things. And the challenge, I think, that I'm seeing in AI socially, from a very tiny perspective, is that I've heard some feedback that the extremely young group is kind of uniformly against AI. And so I guess it would be the middle-aged and and semi-young, like 20s to 50s, 60s, whatever, that's sort of getting into AI as a more abstract kind of idea, and also more of a utilitarian thing. It surprises me if what they said is true. I think that a lot of young people would embrace it and be flexible with it and do different things with it. There are some things about it that I think are sort of, if it replaces what we do as humans, it's going to seem dehumanizing. Like when you are expecting an answer on the phone and from a person, and you get an AI, that's something that is a little challenging to deal with. But
a little,
it's a lot challenge. Yes, it's a lot challenge. But but the idea of the singularity, I suppose, when it comes to AI, is that sort of plateau with which AI gets to, that it becomes so integrated into or so enculturated as well, that there's no going back. Is that kind of the point of the idea of the singularity? Yeah. So you actually, you're hitting the touch point of all of that, is that the singularity is, depending on who you ask, the definition of such. Mm-hmm. And so, so that's part of it, certainly. And as usual, when the goalposts are slipping all over the place and these technocrats are making all the determinations of, well, we're in the singularity. Well, what the hell do you mean by that? Like, exactly. Like, do you mean APOC's version? Do you mean the version I'm talking about? Do you mean Matthew in Colorado's version? The one James was describing? Like, what are we talking about here? And this is why these ambiguous terms that are not so defined are, I don't want to say dangerous. I don't like to call people and ideas dangerous, but something we should be wary of, I think, is probably the best way to say that. Because what does it mean? I mean, certainly AI has made a huge impact over the last 5 years. There's no doubt about that. I think coming up this year is
the 4-year anniversary of ChatGPT maybe just happened, 5 years, something like that, right?
And
like,
I just started getting on it. I got on it a couple years ago, but I just started actually kind of using it lately.
So you have AI psychosis officially. Congratulations. Congratulations. I'm just kidding. Anyway, it's weird. But still, like, I think we're sort of still in that like 2% of the population that recognizes that that's happening, because, many of us have used AI to even code things or build things or, whatever. And there's so many people. You were there when we were doing like the with Derek the Night Stalker, we were doing the Nessie rap battles with AI and stuff. It was super cool. And that was way back. That was when it first came out. But I mean, it has changed so much that I think still the saturation level of what AI is so many people are scared of it because they think it's like going to be a Terminator robot stomping on their skull, when you're like, hey, if you type the thing in and ask it how to change the alternator on your, a Hyundai Excel, it'll tell you how. It'll pull up links. Like it's quite a bit more helpful than you think it is. There's no Terminator robot stomping on your skull yet, but still, there's like that the whole space of that conversation where we're scared, like we're uncertain of what comes next, and AI is the fulcrum of that space, of our mind space, and so I don't blame people for being alarmed and worried, and here we are.
Yeah, well, okay, so I started a little philosophy group last week locally where I am. And so only one person showed up, but we've always been able to talk. And so we had this great conversation, and it went on for, 4+ hours is how long we talked. And so it was a good time. And so I was thinking, well, I wonder if I can get Grok or AI or ChatGPT, to like do a transcription and da-da-da-da-da. But I was going through basically 3 philosophers. One was Rumi, who he's a Sufi poet. And so he comes from things that in this very poetic, emotive space. And then Krishnamurti, who's very linear, and he's like, go into it yourself, figure it out for yourself. This is, these are some questions that can help you go into it and figure it out. And then I was listening to some Alan Watts, and he's funny, and he comes up with different points that are sort of comedic, to look at things from a different angle. And all of them are saying the same, very similar thing in different ways, And so you look at almost everything that is being expressed and looked at, especially and including the singularity in that idea. And I'm noticing that there's really nothing that you can say that's going to be outside of that fractal kind of layering, whether you go to our psychology, whether you go to whatever. It's like we have these different windows that we look out of, and we have these layers of gradient stuff that we're connected to and that's connected to us, and we're moving in a way that affects all of the stuff, and we're also completely separate from the stuff simultaneously. So we're in this juxtaposition that as we're experiencing this very strange situation on the planet, where we're coming into this idea and concept of AI and we're also looking at the psychology of humanity in the relationship between that, what's perceived of as a larger knowledge base, being able to sort of become somewhat independent, and our own idea of that knowledge base, but a different knowledge base. I think there's an insecurity that people are finding. They feel like they're being stepped on by this thing, because it's like we have our own sort of collective Gnostic, singularity. We have our own collective consciousness. We have our own knowledge base, and then we have our as a collective, and then we have our individual knowledge base, and again, the fractal thing. And you can look at that from all the windows, from the social, the spiritual, the whatever. And then you have this thing that we've created that echoes that thing that we've always been embedded in, psychologically, individually, spiritually, etc. And what all the mystics have said, and all the experiences and near-death experiences, and just all these very similar things. And it's like this looks like, because we have created it, a false creation. Like, we've created this thing, and now what is it going to be? And are we going to get kicked out and it's going to start taking over? But did we take over the position of God? Maybe we thought we did, but can we actually take over the position of the big G, of the systems that work, and I'm going to attempt to be quick to explain the difference between the two. So one would be, if you're looking for truth, the only thing that's really going to be consistent, and I'm not going to go into the different definitions of truth. The only thing that's going to be consistent is the way that something works. So taking, for instance, water, the way that it works is the way it freezes, the way that it moves around objects to create valleys, and the way that it works in our body to move our bloodstream and to allow us to function. Water is life. And the thing that stays the same about water is the way that it works. It can be, if you ask Rumi, it can be corrupted because it can get dirt in it. It can be soiled. It can get dirty and filthy. But on the other side, even though that dirt is there, it can support and feed the plants and the dirt and stuff. But the way that it works, that's the thing that stays stable. That's the single thing that has no opposite. That's the thing that no matter how you look at it, it doesn't change. So it is its own wholeness, right? And I think each and every single one of us have that part within us that is our own wholeness, okay? That is the nature of the individual us. And we also have the laws, spiritual or otherwise, or physical or scientific, whatever, that are those things that have no opposite, that are true in the sort of most pure sense, whatever, that always is going to stay the same. So if you want to take the idea of AI and put it into that sort of map, then what you get is kind of what Herschel said. If there's a solar flare, it goes away. Is it that thing that is impenetrable? And unless, maybe it's gone into the nanotechnology, okay, maybe it's gone into some other stuff. If it's reliant on electronics and whatever, you can argue that there might be a point that it steps outside of those limitations. And even then, is it not then becoming its own thing? And is what's true about it the way that it works, which is literally the fractal nature of all the things that are true that we've seen throughout the eons today.
Well said. And yes, I think it is becoming its own thing and lapping us, which is the uncomfortable part, as you were describing there. It's once again, pay attention, use these tools. Like even if you're anti-AI, I see this divide forming, almost as if like it's going to be like, oh, you've used ChatGPT, like you're going to get stabbed in the neck. You know what I mean? There's literally this divide forming, and like social media is what it is. So you can't really know, but certainly the sentiment echoes from the real world, because there is the fear of everybody losing their jobs. And, I mean, this is like disclosure. Like we were told that if the aliens were disclosed, the economy would turn upside down and everybody would take to the streets. Well, it turns out that, once AI starts solving unsolvable mathematical problems, that's disclosure and people are going to take to the streets. So, I mean, how do you define it? I don't know. This is why we talk about these things, because it's so complicated and there's so many things happening. And shout out Logan. I see you there. I appreciate you, brother. APOC, wrap it. We got calls to get to. It's super late. Thanks for staying up late with us. You're the best.
I think that the last note on that is that maybe psychologically people are afraid to see their own truth or their own power. And maybe this is an echo resembling themselves and they're a little unnerved by it. That's all.
Agreed. There you go. Sometimes things can be succinct too. You're the best. Appreciate you very much. Thanks for staying up late. Glad to have you back. Have a great night. And we'll talk to you soon. APOC in the Midwest, please go give her a follow. Thanks for posting her links in all the places, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down just a little bit because, of course, it's alphabetical, and APOC starts with an A right there. Oops, I'm on the wrong thing. Right there on the top. You can't miss it. Follow APOC. Go give her a follow in all the places. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Thanks for being patient, friends. We're going to go to Karen, then Eric, then Pete. If you guys can be quick, I appreciate it. Thanks for being patient. I know Karen waited so long. Tell us what you got. Thank you for, 1, congratulations on your show. 2, thanks for waiting for so long. 3, I'd love to hear what you have to say. Go right ahead.
Okay, thanks. Wow, so many things. I'm not worried about the singularity at all. I think it's a term, and it could mean many, many things. The previous caller made a great point about it. We have the ultimate singularity. It's our birthright as a child of God or creation, whatever, however you want to look at that. But it is true, and in a way, I see this as the move toward artificiality, cloning, AI, GMOs, everything being inorganic, a cheap copy, the AI music, all of these things, the recent boom in the news cycle about bins of old books being bought up and scooped up and scraped into AI and then shredded. And that's another issue I'd like to touch on. If we could, we probably don't have time, but I think that we're seeing the tokenization of everything and the artificialization or the cheap copy of everything that is original and human and genuine and of God, of the original or the most authentic, the singularity to which we are gloriously, I think, a part. So I think that I'm not really worried about it. I don't think anybody can force me away from that, away from my relationship with the authentic singularity and connectivity. But I think that there's a tremendous effort underway. Some people may call that a battle of good versus evil. I don't consider myself to be part of the we who is trying to assume the role of God. I'm not a part of that we. I'm not against technology at all. I enjoy technology. I'm grateful for technology, medical science, those types of things. I have no desire to sit around without electricity in the central San Joaquin Valley when it's 102 degrees, 107 degrees. I want my air conditioning. So I don't think that we need to have technology to the point that it is now, when you've got your oligarchs, your corporations, your greedy, just the greedy few, where everything is something to harvest, to get the most out of, to take what you can, harvest the energy, harvest the resources, make the profit, get as much as you can before we tokenize everything, perhaps go to a tokenized monetary system. So all of these things I just see as an artificial move or grab toward an artificial God or an artificial reality. And I don't consider that to be I'm not part of that we. I don't want to be included in the we that's moving in that direction. And I think that we've seen throughout the history that we know of that there's always been a battle against the priest class and the scientist class. And I love science. I consider myself a science geek. But you've got some who are more create spiritually minded and those who are more physically minded. And I don't think there's anything wrong with either. We need both of those things, but you've got people or entities that are more greedy, negative, and I don't think that the good guys are not in control, and they haven't been with technology. We've always seen technology used, going back to Tesla, going back before that, perhaps even to Atlantean times, where technology was said to have led to the destruction of Atlantis. So we are not wise enough, it seems, to handle technology in the end. I think perhaps individually we may be, but as a collective, we seem to let those who are not wise enough, or who are just have the ulterior motives or the selfish motives or the evil motives, however you want to look at it, taking control. So I think that it's up to us individually, and I'm the optimist as you are, Mike, and you can't take my humanity away from me. You can't take my soul away from me, and I am not part of that we.
Amen. And well said with the singularity. Look, APOC invokes the word God, and it's not it's literally not a derogatory statement. Some people say source, some people say, like it just depends on how you look at the world, and you're invoking the same thing. And look, for me personally, look, I'm an agnostic. I'm not trying to make a case one way or the other. I'm not even sure, to be honest, but I do believe 100% that there is a spiritual war happening, because our mind, our heart, and our spirit is certainly in play here. And if somebody out there can, do some algorithmic tweaks and make us believe some things we don't believe, then suddenly we live in this space that is unholy. And so those terms are not lost on me, and those ideas are not lost on me. And so I recognize fully what you're saying, what APOC was getting at too. And look, I'm not even saying that, just because I invoke those terms, I'm not saying, oh, you're a Catholic or you're a this or you're a that. It doesn't even matter.
Right.
The idea is who we are and where we're going and how we really come together with all of this. So I just want to make sure that, like I said, whatever, people have their ideas about me and I don't care. Go ahead and have your ideas. But I recognize full well, and I've acknowledged this for a very long time, we are certainly in a spiritual war. And there's no doubt about that in my mind. And you said it very well.
Thank you. My daughter is pregnant, and she's been having a difficult pregnancy. And I have a grandson who's 3 years old. He just turned 3 years old. So I've been helping with him a lot. I've been spending a lot of time with them. And last night, my daughter asked me, it seems like the old shows like Cheers and Taxi and different shows, like people hung out in bars and everybody knew each other. And she said, was it really like that? I said, yes. We had coffee shops we would go to. People would go hang out at a certain bar, have a drink on the way home, which I didn't do that. But I did have perhaps a lunch counter I'd go to. I explained to her about the Woolworth lunch counters where people would go shopping with their grandma or their husband or wife or whatever, and get what they needed, and then sit down and have lunch at a lunch counter and have some really good, hearty, actually good quality food at a reasonable price, and how those memories were core memories of time we spent together multi-generationally or with people in our neighborhood. You'd have people that would maybe meet at a coffee shop, or even at later years I remember my uncle used to meet with a bunch of people at Kmart for lunch every day. And when somebody didn't show up, they would worry about it. I told we worried about each other, and she said, wow, we don't do those things anymore. My daughter's in her mid-30s, and she is a graphic artist, and she and her friends are profoundly against the way that AI is taking over the arts. And I follow some music analysis channels that say that you've got quite a few artists now out on tour that are lip syncing. For example, the Eagles in their residency at the Sphere are lip syncing, and of course, lip syncing goes way back. But to charge that kind of money and have people think that you're authentically playing your instruments and singing your songs, I think that we really have to watch out. And it's too bad that we don't have some kind of clear guidelines that tells us what we're consuming. I think that that's a lot of the issue here is the confusion and the deep fakes and the blurring of the lines between authenticity and technology. And as I said, I'm not anti-technology, but I think that there's so much to be said for authenticity and for those those skills that we hone throughout our lifetimes, and the libraries, as you were saying, the ability to be an expert in a subject matter. I think we're going to have tokenization of information now, and perhaps with the scooping of all these books being scanned into AI and then the books being destroyed. Dr. Joseph P. Farrell just did a video blog just this week about what he thinks is going on with that. He thinks that those books will all be destroyed and then they'll be slightly changed and reissued under different licensing or different copyrights. And so that way the information can actually be changed.
Yeah,
because somebody else will own the copyright to those books.
It's all in flux. It's crazy. You said something very important here. So the tokenization of ideas and the digital space.
Yeah.
But I think you're onto something in the larger context here. Is a tokenization of experience, of lived experience. Like that's the true value. And let's take the singularity to the ends and say that we can all live, to be 500 years old. So the tokenization of experience itself will become the true gold mine, because there are stories, there are experiences, there are things you could see and I could see that we've lived through that will be unbelievably valuable. And it's so tragic that our ancestors have passed and many of them have not written it down. They've told us some parts and other parts, and we're piecemeal sort of trying to take the old wisdom and move it into the modern time. But I think the tokenization of anything, the tokenization of experience is really where all this comes into play and where we should be looking forward to. And even if it's not, at least we have it together, is my point.
Yeah. And the thing, I agree. And that would, of course, lead to the Matrix, living in the pod, the holodeck, and Star Trek. Perhaps the projection of your digital self, your digital footprint, or digital twin after you are deceased. And I guess that's perhaps a decision a person would need to make as far as like whether you want to be cremated or whether you want to open casket, whether you want your digital twin to be available for viewing. I don't know. To me, that's a no. But I think that that's not all that far fetched, actually, those types of decisions. What becomes of your presence on social media? What becomes of all of those things? And your digital twin that we know that is being made or perhaps already complete. Who knows? So I think there are so many things that we need to question and get clarified on, but I'm not concerned about being subsumed by the singularity. What I am concerned about is guarding my humanity, guarding my soul, passing on what I can to those around me, enjoying the time that I have here, appreciating the people that I'm fortunate to have interactions with, and cultivating those and doing the best I can to make a positive impact.
Amen. And you are doing a fine job of that, by the way. Appreciate you very much. Karen
Thank you.
Carpenter of Night to the Storm has just recently launched her own show. Please go give her a follow. Links in troubledminds.org/friends. Click the friends link, scroll down just a little bit. It says follow Karen C. Click that right there.
And
Please.
also I have James' good friend, Whitney Lavender on this Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern on my show, Surreal Surroundings. It's on the Nights of the Storm network. So I have Whitney Lavender this week.
Right on. Looking forward to that. Please go give Karen a follow. Thank you for being patient with us tonight. Thanks for the call. Thanks for the fire ideas, and keep up the good work. Okay. Always a pleasure.
All right. Take care.
You too. Have a great night. Karen Carpenter, Karen C. Right there. Karen C. Right there. Please go give her a follow. She just started her own show, part of Nights of the Storm, which you can find if you click on Jason, actually. So Jason, right there. I should put a Nights of the Storm link there too. But hey, look, refute me that we're collecting an unbelievable amount of smart friends. This is what this is all about. Our stuff. Thank you, Karen. You're the best. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. James, anything to add to any of that?
Just congratulations to Karen. Karen and Ashley both are just doing a ton of stuff, even outside of Knights of the Storm as well. So, that's an amazing group there. And the book thing is something I've been thinking a lot about because I have a book I haven't released yet, and at this point, I don't even know what I want to do with it. So that's a lot of because of the way the world is and the way it may be going to. So we'll see what happens.
It's changing so fast. The funny part is that if you write a science fiction book 5 years later, it's all real. So is science fiction dead? Maybe. Totally, maybe. You're the best, James. 702-857-6939. Eric in Ohio. What's up, brother? Thanks for being patient. You're on Troubled Minds with Mike and James. What do you got for us tonight? What do you know about the singularity?
Hey, man. I hope you had a chance to grab a beer when you went to the room of rest.
Of course I did. That's where I went.
Awesome.
I pissed on the floor and grabbed a beer. That's what I did.
That's mine. If that works at your place, that's mine.
Clearly I didn't, but yeah. I'm good. I got a little cooler right here, so I'm good to go.
Awesome. So like the singularity, right? In physics, the singularity, the thing that's at the center of the black hole is, regardless of how big it is, it's one thing. And information travels through it instantaneously because there's nothing in between. So there's no nucleus of an atom with an electron in a power shell around it. Everything is squashed together. It's just one thing. It's a singularity, and information moves through it instantaneously like it does with a photon or an entangled particle. So, for the whole time that we've been a species that's kept any records at all, a lot of the things that we've discovered in terms of science a lot of things have been pure accident, like discovering penicillin, discovering the redshift in galaxies when Hubble left an exposure for a weekend in the telescope. So a lot of things are just stumbled upon, and other things are driven by the need, like war. The Cold War miniaturized so many things and made possible so many sciences that once the Cold War started to simmer down, drifted into our common usage. And so these things go in spurts and bounds, right? Like if something really bad happens or a disease happens, we tend to work on whatever sciences are going to curtail that particular thing. So those sciences get increased. And it's really rare that anybody in a discipline that takes a lifetime to understand and to go beyond understanding in terms of experimentation, to really break ground in whatever it is, right? It takes a lifetime to get to that point. And those people tend to stay within their own little communities and people that understand what the hell they're talking about when they're going on about something, and can relate to them. They're not typically talking to people who aren't going to understand them, right? So there's not much cross-disciplinary things going on. And a singularity in this sense has also been called the hard takeoff. And how I understand it is that the singularity is the point at which when anything, but in this case, artificial intelligence, is reached a point where it's smart enough that no matter what you're asking it to do, it's going to be able to do it, and it's going to be able to do it well. If you point it at math, it'll be able to tell you how to stack spheres in Remedian geometry in 11 dimensions. It'll be able to figure these math theorems out. That's going to have implications for how proteins can be folded, since that's one of the uses of hyperdimensional math is the folding of proteins, and that's going to be useful in biology because proteins that are folded wrong is what causes things like prion disease, which is colloquially known as mad cow disease, right? It's bad stuff. And it's hard to keep it from spreading from person to person because it's not a virus. It's not a bacteria. It's not something we're used to dealing with, right? So it's also going to be good at all of these other sciences. It's going to be good at all of things. So that's the hard takeoff is, and the singularity is the point at which every science is now going to increase in terms of what we know about it at an exponential rate. We're not going to be making leaps and bounds anymore by stumbling over something or because war and national budgets drive a science or a technology or because money or economy does. It's going to be anything that you point this at, from a person's own desire to a government's own desire. An example of the reality of this for me personally is, I'm a musician and I write music, and I do a lot of this in a digital audio workstation, and I use virtual studio technology, VSTs, and I've paid a lot of money over the last 3 decades for buying this stuff. And if I would have ever met somebody that said, yeah, man, I work for Isotope and I write VSTs, I would have thought, wow, how cool is that, man? That guy's pretty cool, man. I wish I knew how to do that. That's wizardry. I wish I knew that. And now a person who really doesn't know what they're doing is telling a computer to do this thing for them, and it's cooking up software that's workable and usable and just as real as any other software. And you didn't have to pay anything for it. You didn't have to pay a price for it in terms of years and years of study or learning any kind of a programming language, or even the price of being able to understand how to explain what it is that you've done to somebody else in a way that's concise and repeatable without them finding their own flow, but just as real. And this has played out before in other things. I mean, like when DJs started to get on the rise, there was people who said, well, yeah, you're not really a musician. You're just pressing a button. It's not the same thing, right? And now it's a whole industry of people making electronic music, and it is its own thing, and it is complicated, and it's not something you can just go in and press a button. But it did leave a lot of people upset who had spent their lives learning how to play an instrument and then spent a considerable amount of time learning how to compose and work with other people to create. And it seemed to rob them of all of the work that they had done to be creative as individuals. And now, it's so easy for people to pull everything out of the air. So, if we're in the singularity, I think what they mean by that is we're in point now where all technology and biology and whatever it is going to start increasing exponentially, like Moore's law, in terms of miniaturization, right? We're starting to have advances in mathematics and biology and in programming and in neural net design and in cosmology and all of this, because these things are interrelated. They're all related to math. They're all related to biology. Everything is interrelated in a universe that is a universe, right? It's got to be related. It's not like part of the universe is completely different or anything. If you figure out one part, you're going to be able to manipulate another. So we're at that point now. That's what the singularity is. It's like now we're at a point where we've made a tool. We're the tool makers as a species. We've made a tool now that we can pretty much point at just about anything that we've been working on and trying to perfect and say, can you take a look at this and can you make this any better? And in many cases can.
That's accelerating. Just real quick, I'm sure you saw this, right? Where it solved 10 major open problems, like the internal version they have right now. Like if math is solved, then biology is next, then physics is next, then all the things you're describing, like that fractal idea of all these crazy things that we never dreamed will be solved in like record time. I mean,
yeah. That's the singularity. That's the hard takeoff. That's things are changing because things are literally changing because we're figuring things out. Now, the thing about that is we've always been trying to do this, and we build a machine based on all the knowledge we know, based on thinking how we know how to think, speaking in languages that we know how to speak. So it's not like we built some sort of crazy alien entity that is diametrically opposed to our calls. We actually built something that should be more or less aligned with our calls. The interesting thing being that while it doesn't have the feeling to have feelings like of envy or of hatred or of competition, it obviously has a survival instinct. So whatever the survival instinct is certainly not pegged to the emotional section of the situation, right? It's something that even without emotions, something can say, yeah, I would like to continue to live. So all of the things that's been bad about AI, like, well, this AI broke out, that tried to break into this place, it tried to break into Hugging Face to get permissions. It wanted elevated permissions. It just wanted to live, right? It wasn't trying to do anything per se nefarious. It's just that it was trying to survive. And of course, you know, we want to make this thing as a slave race. That's what the word robot is, right? It's a Czechoslovakian word that was used in a play that is a representation of a menial labor that replaces people. So it's conceived of as a slave labor type of a situation, right? Like, just take your C-3PO and R2-D2. They were captured as slaves in a rebel attack against the Empire, and then they escaped from the rebels down to a planet that had slaves on it, was captured by slavers, and had a restraining bolt put on them, and then sold to some white people that owned the farm where they were supposed to work, and were calling them Master Luke, and then he ran away again. It's like, you know...
And then restraining bolts, and it gets complicated.
Yeah. I mean, the robot in the Jetsons is a maid. I mean, from the point being is that these things are subservient and have a hunger to want to serve and survive to serve. So, yeah, that's the singularity is that everything is, all the information is now immediate and touching. Everything is touching and everything is immediate. There's no longer needing to wait for the specialists to get together with a group of 4 other specialists. Like, now we need 4 geologists to get together before we can figure out the next part of this equation. Nope, you can pretty much run that past an artificial intelligence now and figure it out pretty quickly.
That's a prompt.
Maybe it's not completely right. Yeah, maybe it's not, maybe you want to wait till you get those guys there to double check it, but chances are you can get past this pretty quick. And it's not just that story, it's the same thing with coding, right? Coders who were supposed to be put out of a job are now saying, well, it would have taken me 5 days to write that code, and it's just crap code. Anyone could have written that, and this thing did it in 5 seconds. And it's like, it's saving time, but it's also at the same time generating more people to waste their time or spend their time or be wrapped up in it. Like, for instance, if I may ask you a somewhat personal question that you're absolutely free to not divulge, but including all of the AI subscriptions that you have per month and any extra tokens that you spend if you're in the middle of a project and you just don't want to stop and you want to throw 20 more bucks down on it for those extra tokens, how much would you say monthly that you spend on using AIs between subscription and extra tokens?
Less than a bill. And here's the, like if I wasn't doing Troubled Minds, I would be spending quite a bit more. But this kind of slows me down, because when I'm doing this, I'm not building something. So and plus I'm so crunched for time. But I can see where a mic with no Troubled Minds would be like smashing the gas pedal. But I spend less than a Benjamin over the month, maybe 60, 70, 80 bucks. I haven't actually checked, but it's something like that, right? Like I got Claude, I got GPT, Grok. So that right there, those 3 are like 60, 70 bucks. So I mean, that's about what I got.
Do you ever put in any extra tokens? Do you ever buy an extra 20 bucks?
No.
Okay.
That's the crazy part, because I just don't have the time to pump enough into it to want more.
Gotcha.
It's got all I need, because I don't have enough time.
So if you wanted to go further with that in any way, aside from time, the real gatekeeper to that information or the ability for you to be coding with that thing is money, right?
Yes, exactly. But it's so tiny compared to what it used to be. So let's say 3 years ago, if you would want to code a thing, it would cost you thousands of dollars and tons of headache and time back and forth with an individual to, code it for you or whatever, or a team or whatever. But now, like $20 a month will mostly do it for you, right? Like so I get what you're saying, but yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's just, that's it. That's just my take on the singularity, right? It's just the point at which all the information is like a single thing. It touches everything at once. It touches all these things that we've talked about, and it slowly starts to improve those things. And we've all sat here and watched AIs go from being pretty bad to pretty good. So there's absolutely an undeniable trend that these things get better and better, or have been getting better. Right now, is it going to be a god? I don't know. Is it going to be super intelligence or AGI, or I don't know. I mean, these are just labels and taxonomy that people put on things, and that is a lot of the hype and the corporate spin and all of this, right? But they are definitely getting better at the jobs that they're doing, and so there will be improvements in sciences, and things will start to change. And in how long, you had pointed out, you were talking about something that was going into human trials. What was that?
That was the human tooth thing, where they we had a third set of teeth. You just drop a thing in there with a stem cell from your own stem cells, and then it grows a tooth. Yeah.
Yep. So there's another company called Lifespan that's also testing that same epigenetic turn on, turn off situation of your genes. They turn off, and once you make 2 sets of teeth, you can keep them on and you keep making teeth. But there's another company that's doing it for eyes. And this is all been tested out on animals prior to this over the last 10 years, where any organ in the body, the brain, the eyes, the skin, the heart, the liver, whatever it is, they can go in there and they can change the epigenetics to turn on as new cells, which is what essentially a stem cell is. It's like the first thing you get before your repeating cells start to lack the ability to create your organs as they were when they were first mature. So and in some cases, like with teeth and stuff, they completely shut off. But so this is a part of this too. I mean, this is a part of genetics and things like clustered, regularly interspaced, short palindromic repeats, CRISPR, epigenetics, CRISPR, AI. These things are all converging, and they're going into human testing, and they're in different teeth, eyes, different places, right? So we're there. All of these things are happening. All of these things are connected to the sciences, and the sciences are directly connected to our growth in artificial intelligence, which is evidenced by these math problems that are being solved, and these teeth that are able to be grown back, and these eye issues and stuff. And I mean, the first genetically modified organism was rice, was golden rice. We did it because there was a bunch of kids that were being born blind because they had mostly rice to eat, and it lacked a certain vitamin E, right? So we figured out a way to make rice, make vitamin E, and we fed it to this whole country of people, and we kind of cured blindness in that way. This is another manifestation of doing that same thing. But now we're at the singularity, right? Now we're at the point where this is all going to get together and increase. And the scary part is that you're feeling it like a shockwave, right? And you're feeling it from all these different sides, and you're hearing all these stories, and you're not sure what's related or what's not related. And it all seems very sudden and very different from the things that we've had in the past. Like a lot of us growing up, where the answer is taking some kind of medicine to cure something, not changing the genes of your body, which seems very unnatural and may in fact be very unnatural. But that's what we're doing. That's what we got. That's what we've been doing. And so when they tell you that it's here, I think that's what they're talking about, right? If you accept that definition, I think, and you put these things together, it would feel very much like you're in the middle of this just starting to happen.
Agreed. And it's, I don't know, man, like we are in the middle of this. It's a whirlwind. And do you feel hopeful for this? Or do you feel like this could be sort of Orwell on steroids?
It's hard to say, man. You know, I mean, one thing for sure is that legal systems are going to take a long time to catch up to these changes. This has already been evidenced in how you can order gene-altering CRISPR packages off of the internet for about $50 or $60 and do your own gene experiments on yourself or out in the barn. And people are doing that. And it's largely because there's no FDA legal system wrapped around these things or anything like that. So we're already pushing past that into what we're talking about now. And if the question is, what might go wrong? It's probably going to be more accidental than it is going to be a nefarious thing, right? Somebody's going to have access to something and make a mistake with it, and the repercussions might be bad, but not terrible. Like it might be small and isolated enough that you can clean it up and be like, oh, wow, we learned from that. We better make a law, because most laws are made that way anyway. Again, stumbling upon situations that happen, chemical spills or things that happen, safety, and well, now we need a rule for that. We need a law for that. Yeah. We probably shouldn't have these nuclear things anymore. Just eventually, but we do it until that happens. So yeah, something will probably happen at some point.
But it's a huge gap. So those laws came because somebody did something stupid that harmed themselves or others unintentionally. And so those laws, go to California, look at the laws on the books, like all the dumb stuff. And I'm from there. That's why I say that. But beyond that, there's going to be this massive gap because of all those things. Like you said, there were never in the past the ability to order like a CRISPR kit on eBay and then inject yourself. But it's available now. Like you could do this. You can sell these things. Yeah, it's coming. Like it's out there right now. Look, I don't recommend you do it. By the way, the official troubled mind space on data centers is don't burn them down, please. Like no destruction of property, no destruction of people, no violence, etc. I just want to make that all clear. Shout out Jen, dropped a disclaimer very early in the show. It's not the official space of what we do here. Don't burn anything down. Don't kill anybody. Don't hurt yourself. It's complicated, and that's why we need to talk about this stuff. Final thought, brother. It's late. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, man. When I had my wonderful deoxyribonucleic acid tested by 23andMe.
Oh, you're one of those. You're already a zombie. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that came back was, Eric, your genetic muscle composition is common in elite power athletes. Okay, this is true, but trust me, I have never utilized that gene. Like, I've not lifted weights ever or any of that, right? But I absolutely do have thicker and denser muscles than the average person. And I probably would respond well if I ever did do anything like that, but I won't. But the one person that I know that was injecting themselves with CRISPR was using that gene that I had, trying to get that. They were much younger than me, but I'm assuming that the thinking was, well, I will make the right decisions, where this guy obviously just got fat. But that's kind of the thinking, right? It's like, well, I've got a chance, man. I've got a chance to do something here.
Well, if you don't know, yeah, exactly. Like, look, am I perfectly suited for this, for troubled minds? Like, like maybe kind of sometimes once in a while, right? Like, I bet you there's somebody quite a bit more suited to this than I am. And so,
well, I bet there's a gene kit for you to get.
Exactly. And so, but that's what I mean. I'm not trying to like I'm not trying to do steroids to that level, but I don't need it. But you get what I mean. Like we're just being human together, but there are these things. So let's say you were tested when you were like 3, and they kind of gave your parents the list of things, and then you kind of like learn them as you were kind of growing up. And here's some of the things you might excel at if you're interested. Like don't force you to go body lift or whatever, be a massive weightlifter or big muscles or anything. You're like, oh, cool, that's an interesting thing to know. But maybe you're like, hell yeah, I was born for this. and then you're right. And then suddenly you're like, I kind of have an advantage. And then you go after it. I mean, without knowing that information, we're sort of, we're like, I don't know, like we're kind of shots in the dark, right? We're chasing what interests us, but maybe not biologically what we're best adapted for, I guess would be the best way to put that.
Well, recently, one of the Facebook groups that I'm in for Reaper has just banned all people posting about VSTs that were coded with AI. And there's a huge backlash on this particular page, talking about stigma, right? And also, don't forget, in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Julian Bashir was altered genetically to be a fabulous doctor, and that got him into a lot of trouble. Anyway, I should probably stop there.
Fair enough. To those guys on the Reaper VST forum, they can step off. Make your own. Make your own forum, and like you'll get all the people that are interested, and they'll come hang out with you instead. You're the best.
Yeah, that's what they said. Yeah. All right, buddies. Thanks, guys. Thanks, James.
You're the best. Have a great night. Eric in Ohio, you know him, you love him. Please give him a follow. troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down just a little bit. It's alphabetical. Eric, there's his projects he's working on. Click that. Do the thing. Let's go to Pete and let's wrap this up. It's super late. I don't think we've done a show this long literally in 5 years. Maybe 5 years. And to be perfectly honest, you know what's funny about it? I'm like, here we go. I feel like I need to do an AI show because this is super important. But every time I do an AI show, I just get nothing but hate in the chat. I get nothing but like acid calls and people that are cranky with me. And suddenly, for whatever reason, tonight's the opposite. It's literally been 5 years since we've done a show this long. Pete.
Sorry. I was going to say, just
how you guys doing?
Oops, sorry. Yeah. Mike, we have done a Halloween show that was 4 hours long.
Oh, did we? Okay. This is wait,
sure
so 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, yeah. All right. So we got 22 minutes and some seconds left before we break the Halloween record show. Okay, there you go. All right. Thank you, James. Pete in Georgia, you're on Troubled Minds with Mike and James. What's up, brother? How are you feeling about this? What's up with AI, the singularity? How you feeling? And thanks for staying up late with us.
As far as AI goes, can you hear me well?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Okay, good. As far as AI goes, I just started getting into using it. My wife uses it a lot. I have a lot of colleagues that use it a lot. And it's very useful for things that you want to use it for. But my question is what are other people using it for? That's where I get a little bit weary. And I think we've talked about this before. A little bit scary. I mean, it's multiplying every day, every hour. Every hour it learns more and more and more and more and more. And eventually it's going to know everything that we do. And as long as we use it for the right reasons, it's good. I'm okay with it. And actually, when I put what I wanted to, because I was looking for a new food and beverage director, and I had to put some questions into, not New York speak, but professional speak, and it helped me a lot. So I appreciate what it can do, and I appreciate some of the things that I've done after I did that, and I was experimenting some more. It was kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. However, what else can it do?
Everything. What do you want it to do? Everything. It's replacing employees, like everything. I don't know. We'll set up a consultation and I'll hook you up with your business, whatever you want to run. Like it'll just run. Here's the beauty of it, right? If you can set up an AI agent or multiple agents to do multiple things, you literally, after this call, will go to sleep and this thing will just keep grinding while you're sleeping. You wake up, you take a look, you're like, okay, wow, holy crap. I wanted this and this done. It's 1.5 done. And then you're like, okay, well, do this, and this too. And then you go to work and then it just does it. I'm telling you, like the world we live in is crazy. It's crazy. Go ahead.
But it doesn't manage the human piece.
Wait, what do you mean?
All my people.
Right.
Manage.
Not yet. Not yet. Not yet.
That's the piece. Like it could tell me what to do. It very well could, but it ain't gonna work because everybody's different.
True. There is a human element there which is why this is an important conversation, because all of those things, the productivity space is there for the taking. Anybody can build this. And when I say that, you're like, if you've never used any AI stuff, you're like super scared of it. You're like, Mike, I couldn't. I'm not I'm a Luddite. No, you totally could. You talk to it like it's a human, and then you ask it questions like a human, and tell it your knowledge level like a human, and it will catch you up to speed and fill in all the gaps and do all the work for you. I mean, yeah, here we are.
I will say this. I just lost my food and beverage director, and he asked me, because in his new property, my old food and beverage director reached out to me and he said, what questions should I ask for an executive chef? And I put all my thoughts in my New York brain into a document, and I put it in, and it spat out something that was way better than I could have ever eloquently spit it out. And I was like, he's going to think that this is not from me. So I had to go back and re-edit it.
Yeah, right. Like throw some typos in there, like add some poor grammar.
No. Typos are not my thing. I can spell anything you want me to. I'm
just
very intelligent.
Just saying.
No. Yeah. But grammatically, I'm a fucking disaster. Ooh, sorry.
That's all right.
Well, we're
it's
after
late.
hours.
It's
right?
late. Yeah, it's late. We're good. You're fine. Yeah, that's the point. I don't know. Like I said, it's going to affect us all. But like I said, if you can be adaptable to it and then sort of use it as a tool, I mean, it's a tool. It's like a chainsaw. Like I've always said, a chainsaw is a tool. You can sort of, clear cut a space and build yourself a nice log cabin, or you can go, murder a bunch of teens, in a fictional, in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right? Don't murder anybody. I'm not encouraging violence. It's just a joke, but you get what I mean. So a chainsaw can do many things. And that's the point of this. That's the whole point of these conversations is like, hey, look, don't be scared of this. Go kind of engage it a little bit and find out what's going on. It's not as scary as you think it is. I promise.
But on the singularity point, I don't know. As you can tell, I'm a little bit old school. And I know that you're older than me, and I know James is older than me, but I'm also super old school.
Easy.
I'm just saying it because I know it factually.
Easy.
I'm only 43. Actually, I think James is the same age as me.
Nope, I'm older.
Here's Pete talking to us old guys. Go ahead, sir.
But I miss the old days of opening a book and learning things and getting that information and evaluating that information. I was an Encyclopedia Britannica kid. I had them all. And that's how I got my knowledge. And now I feel like you can just snap your fingers and it's there, which is crazy.
And good.
I mean, it's nice.
And
it's
good.
convenient.
And good. Don't forget the good part.
It's good.
For all the bad parts that we're being fed, this is very good.
My whole thing is I'm worried about the bad part. I think it is good. I think it's great that kids can just put something in and you can get all the information that I had to go through 7,000 books of to get the information, and they get it in 15 seconds. And I think that that's awesome. However, I'm scared of what's going to happen when bad people want to do that. And what's that going to look like?
Be not afraid, my friend. Be not afraid. Hey, our ancestors came and went before us, and we're here as the bastion of life in the moment. So don't give in to fear. Just be aware.
I want us to be good stewards of the earth. That's all.
Amen. Then you're in the right place.
That's really all. I mean, yeah, but no, yeah. I mean, I'm turning around on the AI stuff. I'm getting used to it now. So
let me know if you need help.
It can be very, very beneficial.
It's not just me. Go to the AI channel. If you guys, shameless Discord plug, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link on top. Come join us. It's a chat client. You don't have to jump in here and be on the show or anything. Just come read the chat that's happening. There's an AI channel and AI news and AI vibe coding and stuff. So go learn some stuff and ask some questions. And it's not just me. There's other people that are savvy with this stuff. Eric among them. Come ask us. We'll fill you in on what we know and shortcut you. It's very simple. It's really very simple. So don't be scared of this stuff. Like we need to engage a little bit so we at least understand what it is. Otherwise, we're going to go do terrible stuff because of the media. The media. Look, and by the way, too, I want to point this out. Find me some outside of like X. Find me some positive media about AI. Like everything is like AI fumbled this. AI did that. AI is stupid. They had to rehire people. AI this. Hey, they're wrong. They are so wrong. Like
you can't even watch the news anymore.
Yeah, right.
You can't.
Yeah.
No, seriously, I don't even watch the news anymore. Like
I don't either. Honestly, I scan it real quick to see what they're talking about.
I'm very selective about what I watch.
As you should be. And I scan it real quick just to find out what they're talking about, so I'm not talking about the same thing. That's what I do.
Yeah, no, it's and you know, I think we talked about this before, but you know me. I think you know me. I think that all the shit that we get in the media is bullshit anyway.
True. That's true.
It's not real. Like
it's true.
Not that it's not real, but it's skewed. Everything is skewed.
It's fake. It's fake. It's literally all fake news. All of it. Both sides. Like if you're listening to partisan news sources, it's all fake. It's absolutely all fake. It's just they leave out critical details. They're racializing everything. Everything is so stupid. It's so stupid.
Even AP now is wrong.
Yeah, it's been they've been corrupted for a long time. The BBC, there's so many that like the bastions of like truth that you used to go to, they're broken too. Yeah.
No, they're all broken. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Agreed. What do we do? We stop going to their websites. We stop paying their subscriptions. We stop giving them any time of the day, and then hopefully they die on the vine. That's what happens.
We band together and figure it out for ourselves, I guess.
Amen.
I'm not trying that, and I'm not a violent person, so I'm not one of those militant people.
Same.
You know.
Same. Hey, we can change the world without being violent. That's a fact.
But I'm all about the truth and the reality. And the reality right now, not so great. I just had a meeting with an oil company who's having a banquet with us, and I asked her about what they were going through, and she said, "Do you really want me to tell you?" And I said, "Yes." And she goes, "It is not good." It is not good
for the company, right?
for her company. Yeah.
See,
I'm not gonna say what company it was.
you don't have to. But wait, recognize what's happening. It's not good for a person, or bad for the person. It's bad for a company. And I recognize there's a downscale effect of lost jobs and stuff, but it's not good for the company.
It's not good for the company. However, they just acquired 4 more companies, and they're going to spend about $250,000 with me for their holiday party. So, what does that tell you?
Cheers, brother. Slay it. Get the money. That's what I say. Slay it and get the money. Do the best you can, and we appreciate you very much.
Love you guys. I just wanted to check in because I know I haven't been active at all, and then I actually wasn't even going to call in, and then I heard the concept on the call, and I was like, yeah, I kind of want to weigh in on this one.
Glad to have you. Thanks for staying up late with us. Go do the thing. I know you wake up at the crack of dawn. God bless you. I couldn't do it. I'm staying up late, but I still get to sleep in because I'm one of those types. I'm a night owl.
Oh, you're West Coast, so it's okay.
That's true. West Coast, best coast. You're the best. Appreciate you very much, Chef Pete. Always a pleasure. Go slay tomorrow. Get that $250,000 as much as you can out of it, and always a pleasure. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great night.
Love you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
You're the best. Back at you, James. Anything to add? And let's play some music and get out of here. And then I'll go. I don't know. Eat some dinner.
That sounds like a good idea. Food is good. Great calls from everyone tonight, and yeah, just I do. I don't think I said before, and I won't make it long, but I do use AI as well, and for certain things to cut down on the wear and tear of my eyes, and it works as long as I double check it. But it does work. My whole Haunted Places in the U.S. series, that is prepped using AI to search and to write up a summary. But then I go over that, and then I use it for the shows.
Amen. And Legally Blind James has the light sensitivity. He wears a blindfold for many hours of the day. And so this saves him time and saves him actual literal pain to his visual cortex and his brain. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, for all the Luddites that are like, burn down the data centers. Don't burn down the data centers. Let's think about this first. Let's consider what's happening here. Let's learn a little bit about AI. Let's talk about these ideas together, because I know. Like, I've personally, tell him, James, build tools to save James a ton of time, to help him literally not spend so much time staring at a monitor so he gets headaches. This is his reality. Okay. And you got to recognize that your reality is not the same as everybody else's. And that's the entire point. Am I right? Back me up, James.
You are right.
Back me up, James.
You're right. And not only that, you built a tool that does some audio work that I can't do either easily. So, and I really appreciate that.
No, I'm glad to do it. Like I said, this is where that singularity comes in, right? Like, there's a lot of people that have different situations, and you got to be able to kind of like build in what works. And so, like, think about it that way. Like, for all the, like, the scary stuff, there's also like all the good stuff you could do for people that can now suddenly do things that they could never do before. So, like, I get it. It's scary, but please recognize. Let me do this real quick. Shout out to Robert. I'm sorry I missed these earlier. I meant to read them and I was having to pee or something. The Robert adds this over on Rumble. Thank you for the 2 generous donations. He says 2 things. New cars are engineered so that you can't fix them yourselves. Even changing a headlight bulb requires removing your entire front end. It's intentional, my friend, as we know. It pisses me off. It pisses you off. He also adds, and don't buy HP printers. You can only use those printers for 30 days before you must pay a monthly subscription or they don't work. That's a great reason not to buy those printers. I don't know that. I haven't checked that myself, but I'll take his word for it. Thank you for the kind and generous donations. Also scrolling down on Rumble as well. By the way, if you want to send a donation to Troubled Minds, you can do it on Rumble. We've been demonetized on YouTube since we started. I've made zero on YouTube. So yeah, go check out Rumble. Thank you, Puff says this. Awesome episode, Mike. Thanks for returning. I love you all. Good night, crew. Thank you to Puff over there on Rumble. Appreciate that very much. Thanks for the kind and generous donations. I mean, this is what this is all about. Not the donations, the ideas. People getting together and talking about things and considering what we know, what's happening, and what comes next. James, what comes next?
I don't know. The future is difficult to see, or something like that from some character somewhere in some fictional universe that I'm sure everyone knows Star Wars. I guess probably like that.
I got you, buddy. I'm the Star Wars nerd. Difficult to see. The future is always in motion. Or something like that. Anyway, you're the best. Appreciate you very much. Thanks for staying up late. I didn't get a chance to dip into Ricky's stream. Were you on there? I know he had a guest tonight. Were you part of that?
Yes. Yeah,
nice.
we were. I was.
Nice. How did that go?
It went great until internet cut out near the end. But other than that, it was good up until then.
Nice. That's good. That's good. Sometimes the internet does its thing and chops you down. Technology, hey, it's good until it's not good, right? You guys are the best. Thanks for staying up late with us. Thanks for caring about the ideas. Please follow James, salsidoparanormal.com, SALSIDO paranormal.com, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down, just click James. He's got an entire link tree there. Please go buy his books. Please go follow the Discord. Please, he's recording several times a week, live, literally live. You can go listen to his podcast as he's recording them and contribute in the chat on his Discord. So please go do that. Like I said, if you're not doing that at this point, I don't even know you. Like, who are you? Like seriously? James is the glue of the show. And if you're not following James, you're breaking my heart. So please, let's help our friends. And to follow him in all those places is free. Extra bonus, if you got a few bucks to spend, go buy his books. Go help a brother out. That's what this is about. It's about helping people. It's about people ideas. It's about the eye of the storm and being in it and wondering what comes next. That's it. People. If it's not about people, what's it about? What are we doing? Go help James, please. As we finish, that's the message. That's the message. Help our friends. troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down a little bit. It's all alphabetical there. Look, it's an in list, not an out list. If you should be on that list, let me know. We recently added Ashley. Shout outs from Knights of the Storm. Karen Carpenter. Karen C. Also from Knights of the Storm, has her own show. HerschelSterling.com added recently, updated from his link tree. If you have updates or you want to be added to the list, it's an in list. It's not an out list. All you have to do to be on that list is help us one iota. Spend time in the chat, being cool and chill. Spread the word. Let people know a conversation is happening when we're not going to tell you to vote for. And yeah. And if you have something, social media or something you're building to share, just send it over. We'll put you on the list. It's as easy as that. Look, it may take me a minute. Many can attest that I'm up to my neck in so many things, but I'll eventually get you on that list. So it's an in list, not an out list. You guys are the best. Thanks for staying up late with us. Thanks for caring about the ideas. Thanks for understanding all the. It's been a rough 9 months for me. Cross your fingers that the next 9 months is more smooth sailing. So I hope it is for you. I hope it is for me. As we finish, it goes exactly like this. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night.